Okay, so welcome to the SMSbot workshop. I'm Leonardo Aranda. Uh, First, I wanted to talk a little bit of what I want to do with this workshop and like speak on some of the ideas that I have for this, because it is not supposed to be just like a technical workshop, but also I want to kind of discuss some ideas around like the use that we have for like the SMS messages, like the kind of things that we could do with them, and especially because I think it like the thing that I don't know, like, that I find really interesting is how this technology has like become from like the most popular way of communicating in 2010 to basically an obsolete technology like nobody uses anymore, because there's other alternatives like through internet and everybody has like a connection. So that opens a field in which basically like, since nobody is using that and it is still like existing in any new protocol of telecommunications, it is kind of an interesting like field to start exploring it, maybe for artistic or political uses. So that's kind of what I wanted to discuss first. Then the second part of the like how I see this workshop is basically like, first we could have like a small discussion around these kind of ideas, like the kind of I don't know, like the kind of background from the SMS and what we can do with it. Then we could like, as kind of as a team effort, try to design how a bot could work, something interesting that we could do with the idea of the bot, and also because we are going to explore like conceptually what a bot is and how it could be like used not in the sense of like a super sophisticated machine that is like perfect in terms of like how it responds to you, but more in how it could be like kind of a playful way to communicate through these kind of messages. And then after we make that part, we can jump to the more technical part and start like assembling these small kits and see how they work and which are like the technical possibilities from there. Everything is okay with that layout? Okay. So first, I wanted to introduce myself. Like I want to talk about a little bit of what I do, and then I would like to each one of you to talk a little bit about you, because since we are going to be talking a little bit during the workshop, it's a good thing if we know each other. And also because usually in these kind of workshops, like something that I don't like is like everybody jumps directly into the technology, and like all the social relationships are like, like kept away, and we're supposed to be talking about networks, and one of the first network that we should be like interested is basically like the social network of people like in the same space. So that's something that I really care about, and that's something also that I think we should be like thinking when we're working with these kind of technologies. Like, since they are communication technologies, like why we use it. Like the thing is not like just like how we use it, but the why. Like, why would it be interesting to use these kind of technologies to on other kind of contexts, to other kind of applications, which are, again, not necessarily the kind of things that you do with technology in an everyday basis. Okay? So I'm Leonardo Aranda. I'm a visual artist. I made a BA on visual arts like 100 years ago. Yeah, I'm kind of old. Then I made a master in philosophy, and right now I'm making a PhD in media study in the university at Buffalo. I also run a small space in Mexico City called the Media Lab MX, which is basically a kind of a hacker space in which we deal with different kinds of technology, but also we try to link them to different communities. We do a lot of work with communities in Mexico, trying to like introduce the use of technologies, and also like to try to problematize the use of technologies in different contexts. So that's more or less what the kind of work that I do. So that is just like a really short explanation. But I would like each one of you, if you could like give a line of who you are, which is like, what is your name, like who you are, like why are you here, and especially why are you in this workshop? Like, what interested you about the idea of the SMS? Because basically, I don't know, it's just not the most sophisticated thing that you could do in a radical networks conference. So it's interesting that just like the SMS like got your attention in any way. So I think maybe we could start with you, and then we could like make a round. What?
I think we're so far.
Yeah. Maybe maybe we could approach.
We can move after.
All right, so I'll start. My name is Denver, and I guess what interests me about this workshop generally is that the phone network is still the largest distributed federated network that exists for communicating with people today. Nothing else is as big, not Facebook, not anything. So I think that's really interesting to be able to connect to that network, and I'm interested to see, what ideas people have for using it. My background, so I work part-time at Software Freedom Conservancy, so basically keeping software free and open source through the work I do on compliance and enforcement work for them. And I also work on a project called JMP.chat, and it basically gives you a phone number that you can use on any tablet or computer or device that you want all over the internet. And I'll be talking about that a little bit, but mostly about another project I'm working on tomorrow afternoon, if you're interested in that. So yeah, that's me.
That's super cool.
Hi, I'm Andre. Just like a hacker, engineer. I'm full-time software/systems engineer. And I don't know, like my early career was all about building networks, especially doing things with the early internet that people thought, you can't do that type of stuff. So I just really like exploring the network and see what you can do with it. And SMS is it's cool because it's everywhere and it's also limited, but you can still do a lot with SMS.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty nifty.
Thank you. I think that's me. I have to untouch that. Can you detach your charger, maybe?
I think this might be a microphone too. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So maybe it works for us. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So we don't.
You can keep this one. We can use that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
There's a microphone.
Yeah. It's all mic'd up, everything.
Yeah.
So I am Leonardo. I'm also like a visual artist slash curator slash translator. I studied translation, and then I did fine arts, photography, and then a master, which is creativity. I'm living now in Vienna, and I'm very interested in the situation of culture. Probably from here I'm the less technological person because my background, I didn't deal with technology as much, but I've been very interested in like, for example, like mail art or like this idea that how we communicate and the different methods that we use and how they got old-fashioned and replaced by others, but how interesting it was like to use them, how to reuse them.
And I am Ana Maria Montenegro. I'm from Colombia, and I'm also an artist. Studied art, and then I did a master in fine arts in San Francisco, which is where we met. And I'm here because we were invited to present this project that we did. And yeah, I'm very curious about the workshop in general. And I teach a couple of classes in Colombia in a university that are like electronic arts. So I think this would be interesting to also learn and teach to my students.
That's super cool.
I'm Sebastian, and I'm a computer engineer. And I came to do a workshop also here, so I was doing a workshop. We were supposed to do it in the same day, I think.
Okay.
So so I was kind of bummed out because I really wanted to take part in this because I have like a very precise thing I want to do with that, which is that I'm working on this project where I'm trying to find as many ways to spam people as possible. So I thought this could be like a nice way to spam as well, sending SMS.
Yes, just another channel of it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice.
I mean, I'm not sure if this is like what is possible to do it with it, but that's like one idea.
There's some technical limitations in terms of how many you can. I think you can send as much as 10 messages per minute, so that's it. So
that's good.
Yeah, I don't know if it counts as a super spam tool, but at least you can like keep, like sending
per minute. You said
per minute.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. That's basically what you do. So I wanted to start like talking a little bit about network topographies, and basically because we are when we talk about SMS messages, we tend to think about how like you send a message to one person and he gets the message, and basically like the whole network behind it is kind of obscuring in some sense. And I wanted to start like thinking about like first staying like this is not a peer-to-peer kind of network. Like this doesn't go directly like from one phone to the other. Like there's a whole system behind like how a message gets delivered from like from the device, like from the first device to the second to the to the end device. So that's one thing that is interesting in one sense, but also other thing that I thought was really interesting when I started like working with the SMS messages is basically that I was when I was working with them, I started like asking myself like, why should it be like always like so precise like who you are sending a message to? And basically because I was thinking like since there's already like a certain like layer of technology behind an SMS message, like you tend to think about them just in terms of like how they get delivered from point to point. But you could, if you have like another technological level underneath like how you send them and how you receive them, you could also like kind of create other kind of network structures. So, sorry. We usually think about like the networks, like the two most famous networks are like the mesh networks, because basically we all the time speak about them like as a reliable system, and we also like think about them as a way to create like different networks which are like more sophisticated, which are like more efficient in the sense like on how they communicate. But I also would like to propose like there's like a lot of different like topologies of networks, and each one of them is attached to a certain kind of political kind of structure in terms of how they deliver a message, in a sense. So what I'm trying to say is basically like one way also in which we can start like thinking conceptually in terms of like how to use an SMS message is to think about how we build a network through them. Like the basic of an SMS message is basically like I have someone's number and a message gets delivered to the person to which I'm sending the message. But for example, what happens if I create a kind of another layer in top of the technological layer that already exists, and create another kind of network in which, for example, I could explode other kind of network structures or topologies, just to make use of it in a conceptual level. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
not sure.
Basically, for example, what I'm imagining is this: like when you use an SMS message, you tend to think like, if I send you a message, it's kind of a peer-to-peer thing, but even if technologically it's not. But what happens, for example, if I try to think about SMS messages in another structure, like for example a ring, in which when a device gets a message, it sends a message to another device which is not the same one that from which it received the message, and it starts like creating a kind of a ring, for example. Mm-hmm. So that is another structure in which we could also think about the network of communication through messages. We could And that's where I want you to start like thinking about like the different possibilities that you have with these kind of technologies. Like you don't need to just rely on what is already like existing, because that's like the most like the common thing about it. Like basically what we said, like point to point, like I send a message, I know the number, so I know who is like who this message is going to be delivered. But what happens if I don't know? If I make, for example, a random message, as a strategy, like a kind of a conceptual strategy, and sending a message to someone that I don't know. Or for example, what happens if I create a ring, in which basically, for example, if each one of us is part of this ring, we could create a message which goes to each one of us, adding a part of a message to the ring. So conceptually, I think that is more interesting than just thinking about like, oh, I know his phone, like I can send him a message. So that's something that I could do with my phone. So what do I need like all this kit to? You see what I'm trying to go with this? So I wanted to discuss this not in terms like in technological terms, basically because I think like already we know how each of these like different different networks work in technological terms. Basically, like there's an endpoint and there's a beginning point, and we like deliver message from one point to another, or we have like a mesh network in which basically like each one of the nodes is like a part of a network communication, but then you also have like this end and beginning point. But you could also have like a line in which each one of them is like an endpoint by itself, but we could also have a fully connected in which basically any message gets delivered to all of the other like participants in the network. And each one, again, the interesting part for me is basically that each one of these different topologies, and this is just some examples of different topologies, but each one of them can represent a different kind of topology also in terms of communication, not only in terms of technology. And we tend to think of technology just in terms of like sophistication and in terms of efficiency. But what I'm trying to think about is like what happens if we think about technology not in terms of efficiency, but in terms of like in a conceptual level of what would it mean to create another kind of network, which is not efficient. Efficient is something that, also this is something that I'm trying to push a lot. Like, but efficient is something like ideologically works in other kind of setups. For example, like efficiency is what Intel makes. Efficiency is basically what I don't know, like what you expect of the Silicon Valley. But why should we be efficient? Yeah, you get a little bit of what I'm trying to say. So, what if we start like thinking about networks not in an efficient way, but in an inefficient way? In which a message, instead of being delivered from one point to the other, like in a really sophisticated, efficient way, the message gets, for example, distorted. The message gets like transformed within the network. It adds information, or it takes information from the original message, and the message is, for example, delivered not to the single person which I intended it to get. I'm sorry, I'm all the time like seeing it at YouTube because I see like point and point. Yeah, I'm sending like a message between each other like every time that I see peer and peer. But what I'm trying to say is basically like we could also think about a message which gets delivered instead of like from point to point. For example, it could be a ring, or it could be a bus, or it could be a random kind of algorithm which is helpful for us to deliver a message. You get what I'm saying with what I'm trying to say? So, in that sense, just keep in mind like this picture, not because we have to memorize any of these structures, not because they are the only structure that exists, like there's a lot of different topologies, but more because each one of them can visually, again, like represent a kind of a communication structure. Like each one of them, you could imagine them, for me it's more like a helpful way to say like, oh, imagine this as a way in which we communicate. Like, what happens if I'm the one in the center, and each one of you is like the ones in like the corners of this star? Or what happens if I'm in a line and I'm the first in the line and you are the rest? So how we make that kind of decision of how the message is delivered. What happens if I'm in a tree? Like, each one of them have a different potential in terms of what we can do, in terms of like, in creative terms, like how we can deliver a message and how we can like, at the end, like the whole point of communication is like how we can deliver a message, but also what we do with the information, because the information it's also something that we can manipulate. And that's for me the interesting part of working with these kind of technologies, in terms of like, we could do the same thing exactly as you said at the beginning. Like we could do the same thing. Like if the whole point is sending SMS message, and that's the whole point, I could do it with my device. I can just write a message to you, like as your phone, and send you a message. But what I find more interesting is like start thinking like, oh, what if I start like kind of creating these other structures of communication, and other structures of thinking about networks in a sense. So we're all in the same page? No? Okay. So the other part that I wanted to discuss is also conceptually is the idea of the bots, because this is an SMS bot. So we already talked a little bit about the idea of the network in terms of like how a network could be like created in a more more creative way in a sense. But also there's the thing with the bots. We are also like used to hear about bots everywhere, basically, because we are surrounded by bots, like in services that we use like in an everyday basis. Like if I want some information from a certain company, sometimes they have like a small bot which would like deliver me, like I just need to know like the keywords and it will deliver me some information, whatever it is. Also, like there's a lot of bots in the network, like in Twitter, in social networks, that there's bots everywhere, basically like responding to messages, creating content, and creating a lot of different stuff, which we can see in a way, we could see it like a kind of a pollution of the network. But also we could think about them like in terms of like creative potential, in terms of like what we could do with these bots. So what I wanted to how I would propose the idea of the bots is basically trying to like strip it from the more sophisticated idea of a bot, and just make it to the more simple idea of the bot. Like a bot is something that performs an automated task. So what could be that automated task that is also like super interesting, because basically it not necessarily is like this idea of like the bot which responds in a perfect like human native language, but more like it could be something that automates other kind of tasks. Again, I was thinking about this in conceptual terms, like about how you, for example, can through a bot transform the original message that you get, or how it can transform the information that is being circled through the network. That is something that interests me a lot. So usually the bots that we like in the huge family of bots, that bots are everywhere. Bots are like again in services. Bots are in the network. Like bots are in IRC channels. They are like in a lot of different like networks. But the kind of bots that we usually are interested in terms of like messages are chatbots. Why? Because basically, since we are using text communication, we think about them like in terms of like how they could be used to create a kind of a conversation, And chatbots are really like, you can see them everywhere, again, like in different like social networks, and you can see them, for example, if you go inside, I don't know, you use these kind of things like, I don't know, like Tinder. Most probably you will end up at some point like talking with a bot, and you will be thinking that it is something interesting, but it is not. So what is, for example, something that we could do with a chatbot? Like why, again, something that I'm really interested in is not in terms of like how we could do the most sophisticated chatbot service that would respond as a perfect communication machine which will be past the Turing test and good that then make us think of it in terms of artificial intelligence. That's something that already like all the companies do. So why should we follow that kind of path? Why we start like thinking about not the perfect communication, but the troubles in communication, the miscommunication, for example, or the random communication. But not random just in terms of like, oh, it could be whatever, but more in terms of how we can design a different kind of network of communication through the idea of like transforming technology and to the idea of transforming this information that is being circled through the network. So in terms of like some of the conceptual background of what we could do, for example, with a chatbot, obviously we have the idea of Foucault. I don't know if everybody knows Foucault. He was like a French philosopher who was thinking a lot about the idea of like the discourse and the idea of language. And basically, he is like he's kind of a really important like reference in a conceptual level when we talk about chatbots, even if he is like he's really distant in terms of time. But basically because he had a really strong idea of language. Language as a limited system of signs, which basically you can rearrange to a certain limited of combinations. Like even if it is like a huge system and you can like kind of create these kind of different combinations in a lot of ways, even if it is really big, at the end it is limited. And it is limited because basically you have a limited set of signs, okay? And since you have a limited set of signs, you usually have all these messages limited to a certain kind of network, which he calls discursive networks, which is also interesting in the context of this conference. Because basically what we have as a discursive network is what is being authorized in terms of like what you can say in a certain specific context and time. So what he was trying to say is basically like, you have a certain set of signs that you can like transform and that you can like combine in different ways, but at the end the system is closed to a certain number of combinations. But also, in different political and social contexts, it is more limited what you are allowed or not to say, and that's a political level of the discourse. Like a discursive network is basically how a certain set of like different ideas can be said in a certain time, and it's been circled through a network of like, which is like a political network, a social network, and a social network in a broad sense, not in a technological sense. And also in terms of like how these things are being discussed and which are the ideas are being circled. This is something that we see every day. For example, if we go to this conference, we see basically a discursive network. We have a certain vocabulary that we all share, and we are all the time like expressing our ideas through the same vocabulary, like using the same words. So that's why we a lot of the times we think like, oh, I haven't heard of your project, but I've heard of something similar, or I've heard the same ideas over and over again, or I've heard like, basically because we are discussing through a certain context, and the context is kind of what limits the path of certain ideas and how they can be expressed to language. So the idea of a chatbot is really related to this idea, basically because a chatbot it functions to the idea of like how can you analyze like the discourse, how people talk in a natural sense, which is not natural in any sense. But then, if you know how like a discourse could work in terms of like how people tend to respond to certain kind of things, then you can start like creating a system which is responding in the way which you would expect from a person to respond. So that is interesting. Again, if you try to link it to this idea of like the discursive networks, like if I go outside and say to someone like, hey, I have this idea about mesh networks, you could almost expect what is going to be like the answer, like, oh yeah, those are the most reliable networks that we know right now because the topology of them. Let's like that if one of the nodes is taken apart from the network will keep alive. Oh yeah, I think about that a lot of times too. Yeah, because we are inside of a social certain social group in which that is something that is being discussed over and over again. So if I design a chatbot in this context, I could say like, oh, each time that you find a keyword, because basically that's how the chatbots work, through keywords. Like if I find a certain keyword, I can take that keyword as a way to create a response. And then from that keyword, I could start like a kind of a conversation. So I will show you some examples of different like chatbots, like in terms of like how they work in the behind. But first, I wanted just to have like this idea of like conceptually what is a chatbot and what are like the possibilities that we could start exploring. So again, we have like as a reference, we have Foucault reference, but more in terms of like the, I don't know, like the art. In the artwork, for example, there are some examples of how we could think creatively in terms of a chatbot. With this idea, for example, of in poetry, in surrealism, use a lot of the randomness to create different kinds of poetry and discourse. Basically, because they were discussing with this same idea of like how like the language expresses ourselves, but also how it expresses certain social and political relations. So they will start saying, if we then try to detach language from the subject which is speaking and make language like talk through the person, like by adding some kind of randomness, we can start like breaking these kind of chains of discussion, and we can start like creating other paths of poetry and also like other paths of discourse in some way. That kind of makes sense. And that's interesting for you? Like
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I'm trying to go through all this like as fast as I can. So some really some things about the SMS history. This is like really some facts that I thought are like kind of interesting in terms of like thinking conceptually of SMS messages. And this is just like some random facts that I thought were like interesting. The first one is basically that the SMS technology was introduced in 1988 in terms of like how the protocol was designed. So that is interesting because when I think about the SMS, I think about it like existing like for hundreds of years. Like I don't know, like since I remember like having a phone, like a cellular phone. I think like about SMS as part of it. But initially they were like, actually they were introduced until 1992, which is like, in a way, with technology it seems like a long time, but in a way it's like really recent. Like it has become like it is a very recent technology in a way, but also it's something that became obsolete like really, really fast. So it was, they were created, like they were first introduced in the GSM protocol in 1988. And that is also interesting because initially they were not thought about being something for the end user consumer, but they were initially designed more to bring information about the network by itself. They were supposed to just carry some information about how the network was working, like how like the different like I don't know, like the different antennas were like transmitting if they were okay, like you know, like just like technical information. But someone's then suddenly realized like, oh, we have this small space that we are using for technical information. We could also use it for people to start like sending message between each other. And a lot of people thought that that was kind of a stupid idea because they said like, you already have a phone. Like people won't want to send message because basically if you have a phone, you can, you know, speak to the other person. But when they were like initially like they started to function in commercial terms, like people discovered like actually people likes more to have a conversation through text than calling each other. Basically because if it is not someone that you really want to have a certain kind of communication, like a more intimate communication, you usually don't want to speak with them. Like you're feeling uncomfortable, like, you know, like if I had to start like talking to the bank and I'm like, oh my God, I have to talk with this person and I'm going to spend like 20 minutes just like feeling uncomfortable and not very okay with the kind of conversation that I'm going to have. So that is super funny because that's how they started like working in a really broad sense, and they expanded, like the technology expanded really quickly. And also that it gives us like the idea of like these kind of different kinds of communication that we have between each other also give us like the background of why a lot of the bots were designed for SMS, because a lot of these communications at the end were not with other persons or not with I don't know, like human people that we really wanted to engage with a conversation. But were basically through different services, which we didn't really want to engage through a calling. So instead of calling the weather service like, oh, I want to know how much snow I have to stand today, like you just like send an SMS and say like, oh, how is going to be the weather? And it responds. So actually, it tells it is kind of it was kind of a natural way of the technology to evolve, to kind of create these chatbots in the SMS context, because basically it was a technology that was also being used a lot to that. So there's two different layers which are interesting in terms of the communication. One is a more practical kind of how to say it, like instrumentalized communication, which basically is like I send a message to receive some information and that's it. And there's the more emotional kind of communication, which is the kind of communication that I can get from other person that I really want to engage into a kind of relation of a kind of interchange of phrases and communication. So that's also something that I thought could be interesting in terms of like how could we design something not only interesting in a conceptual level of like the networks that we were talking about, which keeps being kind of a technical way of thinking about this kind of communication, but also in an emotional level, how can we deal with the idea of like the SMS communication? Like how can we deal with this idea of like the things that we write to each other, the kind of message that are interesting or not to each other? If maybe we could decide that we want to design a boring bot, but we could also design that it is a bot that tells us jokes, or a bot that will always tell you like I love you or something like that. So I don't know, like the last 2 or 3 days I've been engaged with my bot, which is in the show. So I've been sending it messages just to know if it is alive, because I'm all the time like, is the battery enough? And I'm like, I send a message. But since I want to get a certain kind of responses from it, I make like these weird questions like, are you like, I send a message to you, are you planning to go to sleep at some point? And it responded, you are not really talking about me, are you? So, okay. So I thought like that was really funny, because basically it was kind of a semi-random kind of response, but it made a lot of sense because I make sense of the message, and it was like, oh, that's super funny that it thought like I was not talking about that, because it won't go to sleep in any sense. So again, since basically the system was designed just to have like at the beginning just to carry a really amount of information, because it was supposed to be like more like technical information just used to deliver this kind of information about the antennas and the network and how it was. Like the actual size of the SMS message is super small. It's like 128 bytes, which is basically 160 characters. And that's interesting, because basically that's how, for example, like also from those characters, the useful ones are only 140. The other 20 are like metadata for the system. So that's why, for example, Twitter uses the same system, not because it has a technical limitation, but because it was inspired by the SMS. So that's something that I thought was kind of interesting to think about, the limitation of the messages instead of thinking about them like you don't want to write like a huge essay in your phone, but you want to write like small messages. And that's like usually when you write like a longer message, what the system does is basically like it breaks the message apart and it delivers, like even if you in your phone you see it as a single message, actually in the system it is being delivered like 2, 3, 4 different messages depending on how much parts the original message is breaking. So that's one thing. Okay, so this is something that what I thought also was interesting, like the idea of like that it became basically in 2010 it was like the most important way of communication in a global level, with as far as 3.5 billion users that were sending, like I saw the number yesterday, but it was like something around 9.6 million messages per day. So it was huge. Like you cannot, as you said at the beginning, like you cannot imagine that kind of communication in other kind of networks, like to a certain point. So that was super interesting because there was a whole technical layer which is already like being displayed when you think about SMS messages. Like you can be like almost everywhere and you can send an SMS message, which is not necessarily the case when you depend upon internet. So that's something that it is interesting to explore. But also the idea that basically there's millions, like there's billions of users that can receive a message. So that's also a way in which you can explore like different ways of how this being addressed like historically. And other part that I was really interested is like the real cost of an SMS message as a way to critique like how technology is being also like being capitalized, because the actual cost of an SMS message is like almost nothing. And why is it so cheap? Because basically the system is delivering those messages either way. Like again, this was like a part of a protocol just designed as a standard part of the communication. So the SMS messages are all the time like being circulating through the system, but not with human messages, but with messages from the own system. So since actually the system is already like all the time like communicating through itself, the part that it's been used for people is like nothing, like it costs anything to the phone companies. But in a lot of places, this since it's been used a lot, it keeps in like really expensive. Like I don't know if it's the case here in the United States, but for example in Europe, SMS messages are not so popular because of that, because basically like the companies decided that they would keep them like super expensive. So people don't really like use SMS messages as much in Europe like in other places. And for example, I don't know, in Mexico it's been super used because they are super cheap. Like you have like unlimited, like if you pay a certain amount per month, like a plan kind of thing, you have like unlimited messages. So you can use them like like you could use, for example, you could make this a spam thing and make it like super cheap because basically you have unlimited messages to just be sending and sending and sending. And I think this is the case also here in, I'm not sure.
Not anymore.
It used to be, right?
It used to be the case that you would get limited messages and they would charge you a ridiculous amount of money for the messages. But I would say that kind of after smartphones and 3G and 4G and WhatsApp and iMessage, they don't make any money out of that anymore. It's pretty much, unless you have like a really, actually that's not even true because I use prepaid and I have unlimited messaging on my prepaid plan now. Yeah. And my prepaid plan is like $40 a month, so.
Yeah, that's the idea that I had, that here also was super cheap.
Not really, it's super cheap now. It's not even a thing.
Yeah, I don't really understand why in Europe it's still been like super expensive, and especially in Spain, like.
I don't have, like, in Austria, I have 1,000 SMS.
Okay.
Oh really? It's limited?
It's limited,
Yeah.
Oh wow, interesting.
In Spain it's worse.
Yeah, in Spain it's worse, like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure in Colombia it's limited too.
So, yeah, oh, okay.
But how expensive is like your mobile data?
Yeah, that's I was saying. Like it's very expensive your subscription actually.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how like I have a prepaid plan which is pretty cheap. I pay like $45 and
A month?
I have 10 or 15 gigs of data, but I have unlimited talk and unlimited messages. I don't know how that compares to the rest of the world. I know it seems pretty expensive because when I travel and I buy a SIM card, I pay like $10 for a week or more, and I never run out. I have like a stack of SIM cards from all over the world. Because I never use up my data.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to use the mic. I was thinking, I couldn't find it.
Okay, so that's kind of the conceptual background that I wanted to bring to the table. Like, again, just to summarize a little bit, like what I'm trying to think about, like by using these kind of technologies, is like not only like to use them in terms of like the, I don't know, like the technical fetish of using them and saying like, oh, it's so cool that there's a thing like sending SMS messages automatically, like that's something that already happens everywhere. Like more starting like to think about, okay, so now we are in a point in which a lot of these kind of technologies became super cheap, as we were like just talking right now. Like you can use this idea of like having unlimited messages to just kind of have this thing like running, sending messages to different kind of ends. So that's something that I thought was like super interesting to explore in this workshop. Basically, like how can we build a different kind of network in terms of like how could we relate, for example, each one of these devices to each other and create a different kind of creative network, just as a kind of a prototype for what other kind of network could be. More of a random, like a randomness, to add some randomness to the network instead of thinking about all the time about these values of efficiency in terms of like how we think of communication. And again, because basically that's already a path which is being explored in all kind of technical like context. Like if you think about efficiency, well, it is already very efficient in a lot of ways. Like the protocols work and are really reliant, but let's try to mess them up a little bit. Like let's try to break them a little bit, and let's try to make something different with them. So basically what we are doing with like we can start like going a little bit into the technical part. Basically what we are doing is just replicating in a certain sense how the system actually works. Since when we send an SMS message, we are like reliant on a certain infrastructure, which is really interesting. Like basically, we don't go like from one device to the other. And I know that this is super basic, but it's good to just go through it because it is like how we can still like breaking things apart. But when we go from one device to the other, it is not like again like a point-to-point kind of communication, but it goes through a whole system which kind of decides how the message is supposed to be delivered. So, for example, if I send an SMS message right now, it will go through an antenna. And basically, part of how these technologies work is basically this is a radio. Like this is not a connecting to it is basically a kind of a radio network technology. So it is basically like delivering a radio, like a radio signal to an antenna, and like part of the functions of this device is like knowing to which antenna it is connecting, like knowing like which is like the closest antenna all the time, like it is checking, and also this kind of bumping through antennas. Like if I move through the space, like I will be like bumping my signals through different antennas. So basically, my point of contact with a network is the antenna. It is not the end device. Like I'm not connecting through any kind of direct line to other device, but I'm actually connecting through different antennas. So these antennas, but one thing that is interesting is basically that this infrastructure depends on different companies. So these antennas have different protocols to understand like the SMS messages. So it doesn't go directly, like it is not like, okay, I get to the antenna and the antenna gets into the system and delivers a message to the like it jumps through antennas and jumps to the other device. Why? Because basically for doing that we need to know where is the other device. Like if we don't know like where the other device is located, how can we deliver the message? That is one technical problem. The other technical problem is basically how we deal with these different companies, which is each one of them have different protocols. So for example, like I don't know if you remember, like at the beginning of SMS messages, you couldn't send messages from one company to the other. You could only send messages for your own company. So that was kind of a limitation of the system. And basically it was because each one of the companies had designed like a different way in which they would interpret like the SMS messages, and you had to deal with these different protocols. So the logic way to solve this would have been like if all companies like get together and say like, let's create like a universal protocol for SMS messages. But that didn't happen. So what happened was basically that they started using what is called like an SMS gateway. An SMS gateway basically has like different functions. Like it, like all the message gathers into the gateway. It decides like which are like the different the different protocols, how to channel them to those different companies. So it goes from the antenna to the gateway, from the gateway to the company. The company then like makes the different like kind of I don't know, it has to gather a lot of information from you, like information like where you are, who are like different kind of logs in terms of like how you're using your data, if you have enough credit to send a message or not, this kind of information which is necessary to send an SMS. And then it would go back to the gateway and say like, okay, you're able to send an SMS message because you have enough credit and you're like an active user and I recognize you. In one sense, it's basically I recognize you. So then it will ask like, okay, if it is a different company, I have to ask like the other company where is the other user. So then it would go to the other company, ask where is the other user, and finally go and send like one that the other user has been located, send a message to this other user. Okay, so it is kind of a really complicated system because it is dealing with a really complicated infrastructure, which again it is super dumb that we have to use this middle point to something that could have been like solved just through creating a universal protocol of SMS messages, but that didn't happen. But since there's a gateway in all SMS communication, that's how also like a lot of the bots have been applied, because basically that's where like the bots exist, like in these different gateways, in which basically what you create is another layer, like another gateway in the middle of this process of delivering the messages, and this can be used as a way of creating a bot. So a lot of people, for example, that's something at the beginning like people used to do like in the 90s. You could attach like your phone to your computer and start like using it as an SMS gateway, and this could be like your own like handset would be like the one like sending and receiving messages. Obviously, in a kind of expensive way to use this kind of technologies. Now there's like special boards that you can install in your computer directly. Like they have like the GSM integration, so you just like program directly to your computer. Like you can attach them to your computer and use them as an SMS gateway and automatize all parts of the communication. If you're interested in that part, for example, this is an open source project, which is basically that you install like the hardware for making these kind of technologies, and you use their technology to kind of automatize all the communications through basically creating your own gateway.
So can you explain again the gateway? What's the I didn't really get what's the role of it.
It has two roles. Basically, it receives all the messages. The gateway has to know which is like the different companies and to which like the message has to be delivered. Basically, because the gateway it has to function. Like one is to ask the different companies like data from the users, like the initial user and the end user. Basically, because it has to decide if this message can be received, if the message it's available to be sent in terms of like, for example, again, maybe I don't have credit to send a message, and then I could ask the gateway would ask the company, like, is this guy supposed to send a message? If not, it would say like, your message can be sent.
But where is it like physically located? Is it like
usually in the phone companies.
Okay, so the phone connects to the network of the company, and then the gateway is like somewhere in like some like data center or something like that, and then it just basically connects with other phone companies or something.
Exactly.
But so it's not the thing that the phone is connecting directly to, right? It's connecting first to like the antenna, and then it goes through the network to this gateway.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, right now how it works, this is kind of interesting because it also breaks a little bit with the idea that we said initially, that it is a super reliant system. Because basically right now how it works is that it connects to the internet to ask the other phone companies like the data from the users. So they have to exchange some information in order for the communication to be like, to be delivered. And that's the same case for phone calls. Like, I don't know, I feel kind of old when I said this, but I don't know if you remember, like, when you couldn't, like, send messages, but also sometimes you couldn't even, like, make phone calls from one company to the other, or it will be, like, really expensive to make that. And basically because each one of the companies were reliant only on their own infrastructure. So this interchange of like, data through different companies is basically done through the network, through internet, and that is something that is being activated through the gateway. So again, the gateway collects collects the messages, asks the different companies what is like the status of the users, locates these users, and sends the information back to the handset. So that is interesting because basically, for example, a lot of times, like the message has to go through different gateways. For example, if you travel to another country, someone sends me a message right now from Mexico, most probably, the internet will ask, like, oh, where is this user right now? It will locate me here, like, through different, from my company in Mexico to the company, the company here in the United States, it will say it is here. So I have to be attached to the antenna from the company here, which has like a kind of it has a contract with the company in Mexico in order for this to function. So that, again, this is something where we can start seeing the infrastructure behind the kind of communication. Since the only thing that makes possible that I send messages here is because my phone company has yeah.
But then the thing is, so what's the point then in having your own gateway? If your phone can only connect to a network, and then it accesses this gateway through a network. So if you would have your own gateway as a hardware, how does the phone actually get to connect through it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The phone won't actually there's two different kind of technologies there. Because I see what you're thinking, more in kind of this kind of radio. What is the term in English?
No, I'm just wondering what's the path that the message takes, and
okay.
why the gateway that you would have your own gateway. How does it how can you just kind of replace the gateway of the phone company by your own gateway?
Oh no, you at the end you cannot do that.
Oh, you cannot.
Yeah,
right.
Basically because you're just adding a layer of communication. Basically because what your gateway would do is basically having this as a and that's also how their system works. But basically has your SIM card or your own your own handset as a way to connect to the broader network and use it as a way to distribute and collect messages. I don't know if that makes sense. But it is just another technological level over the other technological level which you depend on, in this case. Yeah.
I was going to ask, so pretty much when you run your own gateway, all it serves is the automation part.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
you need someplace to run your bot. You obviously can't, well, you could, but you wouldn't want to run a high capacity bot on this thing. So pretty much the gateway that plugs into your computer is just a big computer with a cell phone inside, inside.
Which lets you
talk, so that you run programs and customize and control that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what a gateway does, basically. And this is what the automation part does, like adding this layer of how it communicates to the other network. Again, this doesn't mean that you are creating your own network in a broader sense. You could need another kind of infrastructure and other kinds of technologies in all senses. No, these software controlled radio systems, basically, those are the ones that are being used a lot in community projects, in which there's no phone companies who would be interested to bring in phone communication to the community. Then they would use these kind of systems, and in those cases, basically, is the same idea. You have your own board, which is acting as an antenna, which receives and sends messages, and your computer, which is basically functioning as a gateway. So it's kind of you could replicate the system, but in a lower scale. Yeah, that's more or less how it works.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're interested in that part, what I use for. Oh, I'm not connected.
I was just mostly curious to try to understand.
Yeah, I'm not connected.
What's the?
I can, but I don't know if you can see this. Nuand.com.
Nuand.
Nuand. Nuand.com. They make some. They're a company who has these open source boards, which basically you can use to create your own gateways, in a broader sense, creating your own phone system. Okay, so up to this point, we are all in the same channel of what do we want to do. I don't want to. I think I extended a lot in terms of the conceptual part, but I just wanted to make sure that we are all in the same channel of what we wanted to do. So this is a really the most famous example of what is a chatbot. I don't know if you've heard of this, or you have played with this. Mm-hmm. Some of you have played once with this. Yeah. This was a system that I called Eliza, which was basically super fun to play when you were a kid. I remember the first time that I saw this, I was in high school maybe, and some guy was in his computer and he was trying to say oh, this computer is is haunted, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, check, it responds and it has a conversation. And the first time that I saw that, I was really what is this? Why is it responding? And trying to think about it. And yeah, basically it is a system, basically how a bot works. This is we can say historically, this is the first bot. And basically how this is, I can share also this PDF with you. But basically this PDF explains a little bit how this is the original paper on how Eliza was designed. And it is a really super simple system in a way, which basically is trying to describe how we talk. So it is super interesting because it works with this idea of the keywords, identifying keywords and changing them, and also trying to change certain words in a phrase. So for example, it will locate a certain keyword if I say something like, oh, I want pizza. It will locate the phrase, like the word pizza, for example, as a keyword, and add something, like create like something around the idea of the pizza, like adding, for example, a question mark with like, oh, you want pizza? And you say like, oh yeah, it understood, you know. Like, so I can share this with you, but this is super funny because it is basically like describing like a little bit of how that works.
Speaking of pizza, the pizza is going in the other room right now. Maybe I could grab one and bring it back in here.
Oh, that was super
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's. It's always good to mention pizza. Okay. So okay, I think it's a good time. It's 1 p.m. So I think it's a good time to start like actually like with the hands-on part, because I think that's also like something that we want to try to do. So I set up this. Well, just like to close the other part. Like what I intend you to do is basically in the rest of the workshop. We have 2.5 hours now with the rest of the workshop. Basically, it's like we have been discussing some ideas on how we could like start like creating this bot. We are not like what I'm trying to say, like we are not going to create like this super sophisticated bot which basically makes like an automated system which makes a super sophisticated conversation with you and responds everything that you say in a way in which it functions as an AI. That's not something that we are going to do. But what I think it's more interesting, at least in the context of this workshop, is more like we are going to build these small devices, like using this phone board, and then with them we are going to try to make a kind of automated system through ourselves, like creating a kind of network using these devices as a way to connect between each other. That's something interesting. And also, like the 2 questions, and that's something that I'm not going to answer. It is something that you are going to try to solve. Is basically like one, which would be like an interesting network between these devices, and second, like which would be an interesting way of working with the language and with the information that we are going to be circulating between each other. Basically, again, we can do a lot of things, like we can like find keywords, we can like break things apart, we can randomize a little bit the information, we can do a lot of things with this communication and try to do something like at least like conceptually it's interesting of how we are like interchanging the information. Okay?
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There's one extra.
Thanks.
Okay, I think that's the perfect key for let's take a 10 minutes break.
Slice of pizza.
Remember the password para la
Yeah.
Before that, I was working for a company, and then before that, I was building that. I do a bunch of
So you want like a low level on the side?
That's my preference, but I do anything.
So I don't know that.
Right now, I'm doing a lot of data analysis work, big data, heavy Spark, taking a little bit of a break from
Yeah, and the project I'm working on for my job for at the moment will also give
Can I have your charge? ¿Por qué les hablo en inglés? Se me pasa todo el tiempo. Allá en el doctorado hay como puse un costarricense, otro mexicano, y en algún punto todos empezamos así como, o sea, estás tan acostumbrado a hablar así que de repente empieza a hablar a alguien que habla español junto a ti y le hablas en inglés y de repente es como, ¿qué estoy haciendo? ¿Por qué?
Un día me desperté por la mañana y fui a la cocina y le empecé a hablar a mi madre en inglés.
Sí. Sí, una de las historias que tengo como urbano es así. O sea, hicimos un proyecto que básicamente fue lanzar como un globo de estos meteorológicos con una serie de cámaras para hacer como un tipo como de video espacial, muy do it yourself, así. Entonces la misión era por un lado el lanzamiento del globo y luego el rescate del globo, pero el tema es que cuando el GPS llega a cierta altura, deja de transmitir. Y entonces tienes que esperar hasta que el globo explota y cae, ¿no? Como todo el paquete, para ir a rescatarlo. Entonces era como toda una misión de ida y rescate. Y después de la misión teníamos una conferencia en el Centro de las Artes en el Centro Nacional de las Artes en México. Entonces era todo un día como de ir porque además todo esto era fuera de la ciudad, porque descubrimos que el mejor lugar o sea, hicimos como varios días antes como utilizando softwares para ver dónde era el mejor lugar de lanzamiento y acabó siendo como un lugar a como hora y media al sur de la Ciudad de México. Entonces toda la misión era ir, lanzar el globo, rescatarlo, regresar a dar una conferencia. Y obviamente pues eso fue cansadísimo, ¿no? Entonces llegamos de regreso, entramos así, pero además como todo muy heroico porque logramos rescatar esta cosa que era como una hielera cubierta con papel aluminio. Entonces entramos como así como... Y todo el mundo estaba esperando así como... Ya íbamos unos 15 minutos tarde y de repente llegamos como... ¡Lo logramos! Entonces se sube Andrés al escenario y súper cansado. Andrés estaba cansadísimo porque además como que... Algo le había caído mal de la comida la noche anterior, no había dormido bien, todo el día fue así como súper un rush. Y llegamos así vamos a ver el escenario y dice como, ok, voy a hablar un poco de mi trabajo, pero el video está en inglés, así que se los voy a traducir. Y entonces empieza el video y empieza a hablarlo todo en inglés. Y toda la conferencia la dio en inglés. Y no se dio cuenta de que toda la conferencia la dio en inglés. Y obviamente estaba tan cansado que nadie era como para decirle como oye, estás hablando en inglés. Y ya hasta que bajó del escenario fue como, oye Andrés, diste toda la conferencia en inglés. Y como, ¿en serio? No me di cuenta. Y ya fue muy simpático, pero todos lo entendíamos, entonces como que lo dejábamos.
Además tiene un acento fuerte.
Sí.
Entonces todavía más.
Sí.
¿Te acuerdas de la conferencia?
¿De Andrés? Sí. Okay. Can I have I'll have your battery. I'll just charge it a little. Okay, so I think it's time to start again. So now we're gonna start like with the more technical aspect of the workshop. So first I wanted to show you like what is in your kit. Let me start like seeing what we're going to do. Basically, the kit consists on a fauna, which is basically like the center of the whole thing. This is a small board which has a chipset which let us communicate to the GSM network. This is super interesting because this chipset is the same one that the old Nokia phones used. I don't remember if you remember this.
The soap bar.
Yeah, the soap bar. Those are small like Nokia phones, like really simple with the little LSD. So actually, how you communicate to this chipset is using serial communication. So actually, we're using this one just because it is already like a sample, but you could use the same, like most of what is like in terms of like the code, if you could like kind of adapt it, you could use those Nokia phones, like recycle them and make exactly the same instead of buying like this kind of board. This is helpful because basically we don't have to recycle them, we don't have to extract the chipset, like create this kind of media to communicate to the serial port and all the libraries. Like it already has like the libraries to communicate on that. But basically this is like the center of the project. This, again, this let us like have like a GSM communication. And basically you can automate everything from callings, like you can automate like for it to respond to a calling, also like to call to someone, but also we can use like respond and receive like SMS messages. It has certain kinds of location technologies through the antennas. It is not as precise as a GPS, but you can use it also if you want to add some location data to your project in any sense. And it has like this, so if you want to, for example, like use it like as an actual phone, you could just attach a headset in this, like this small barrel, and just like hear it. So this is part of the, this is like the phone board. We need to solder like this small, like for it to be attached to the Arduino, we need to solder these small pins at the, and this is only useful just to get it inside of the breadboard and use it as a way to connect it to the Arduino. The other part is basically the antenna. The antenna is a SMA antenna. SMA is only like the kind of connector that it uses. There's usually you can find those kind of connectors or these other kinds. This is the UFL, and these are like smaller, but at the end the antenna you could use like, yeah. So I decided, I don't know, that I wanted this connector basically because it looks like, since you're building a device, it looks super cool to have like a big antenna instead of a small one. Like the small one just like doesn't show at all, which is the same one that you would have in your phone. Basically, the ones that you have in your phone like are printed antennas in the same board that you use. Like, but I thought like, well, since you're designing something more physical, why don't you have a super huge antenna? So that's one part of it. So that's one of the first parts that we have to do. The other part is a small Arduino. I don't know if you all have like worked with Arduino before. Like, have you used this? Like. Okay, so basically it's the same thing as an Arduino Uno, but it is like a super small version because I didn't want it to have like a huge thing to connect to this thing. And in this case also we just need, in order for use it, we just have to solder like some pins on all the, like on this part and this part, and here some pins to communicate to the USB. Okay. Then we have some SIM cards. The SIM card basically it's from a service called Ping. So there's two things you could do. Like you could use this SIM card, and in this case the only thing that you have to do is like go to the web page of Ping and like register this one for it to start using it. The other thing that you could do is basically use the same SIM card as your phone if you don't want to go to those steps right now and you want to use less time. And also you could use any SIM card, like basically you could use any. So that's that. And the batteries, which basically the battery, like we have two sources of like feeding this. One is through the, like on one side it needs a battery. Like basically the battery is just like going to like feed the chipset part of the system. So you need to have attached a battery all the time for this to work. And also for the communication part, you usually use also like Arduino will be like feeding all another part of the system. So also some parts of the connections that we are going to make with Arduino is basically like making like giving power to the board. Okay. So that's basically what we have in the kit. And obviously, well, to connect a breadboard. So what I would suggest is basically that we start like soldering everything, so we can like start with that part. Like again, we just need like these Fauna kits already have their own headers. Basically, that like you put them like that, and you will solder them. And I have a bunch of other headers for the Arduino. I have a small box of headers, so you can just like grab some and use them. There's a lot of like soldering kits. There's three in this table. You can use them, and also you can use like the other kits that are on the floor. So let's start with that. Everybody has some experience with soldering, like. You need help?
I can.
We are together.
Okay.
Bueno, este es el.
Let's connect.
¿Necesitamos una extensión?
No, creo que no. Te voy a conectar. I'm gonna connect.
Esto es para limpiar el routing. ¿Dónde está?
So now if I understand Leonardo, the way it's gonna work is so it's basically just like a kind of then it's just gonna be like a phone, right? So you just put a SIM card and you can just like program it to.
Yeah.
So you need to also know which other phones you want to send to. So you need to have like numbers.
Yeah. You can make an array of numbers, or you could like find ways to like randomize like the numbers, like run through different numbers and.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
And does it work? Have you tried?
Yeah, I made it for a project on the summer, like randomizing the numbers, and sometimes just like doesn't get like an existing numbers, but a lot of times it could like just start like sending messages to people, which.
And so when you try to send a number that doesn't exist, what do you get like some kind of? Can you get some kind of?
Yeah, it gets. I'll show you. I have a in the.
Is this error? This one?
Yeah, exactly. These are all the error codes that you can have. So I'm going, right after we like assemble everything, I will explain this part, because this is really interesting, because this is how you communicate that is the protocol of communication to this, and also that is something that you could use, for example, if you want to hack like the Nokias that I was telling you about. This is how you hack them, using this.
Okay.
Do you have solder?
Sí.
Oh,
Nos
yeah.
faltó las.
That's a level. Yeah, there should be some around. Yeah. Here it is. So there's one really big one, so I think we can just cut.
Yeah. No, I think this is good. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of solder is this? It's super.
Super.
this is better, right? Because the pitch on that stuff is still fine. You want to use like
Yeah.
thin,
Yeah, you want
thin
to.
solder, so you don't get too much.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Good. So I'm just waiting for it to warm up.
Okay.
So what? So
Usually, yeah.
you want to do it that way?
Yeah, I want to do it this way because basically, since everything, like all the connections are like marked here, like I once did it like the other way around, and it was then super painful trying to connect it to the Arduino because I was like,
I see.
you know, like it was like, yeah, I would usually made it here because you don't, once that the SIM card is inside, you usually don't mess with it that much.
Okay. And so then, so I do this, and then we.
So
do
And
I
then-
just need to do one side of these, or a
like
bunch
on
of
the
them?
small side?
I usually do both sides,
Yeah.
and this one with
Not the big one.
with the ones with the 90 degree.
Okay.
Some.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so where does the SIM card goes in here?
Yeah.
Which way does the SIM card go in? How does it slide in?
If you open it like this.
Ah, okay, so you don't have to worry about blocking it when you
Yeah.
put it in. You just slide it down and it pops open and then the SIM card goes
Yeah.
in. Awesome.
And usually I.
You
saw
recommend like this?
this? Exactly. So you have these on view, like.
You want?
You can-
Right, you can read
Yeah,
and
you
see
can read
You like
what
it?
it is.
Yes, but
Yeah.
this is
Okay, and then we
Okay.
solder both edges of the mini.
Yeah, exactly. Both edges, and also you need.
Do we need the back as well, or just the sides of the mini?
Let me. Usually I use it. I solder obviously from the back these
Yeah.
two rows, and this one because this is how
Power?
we are gonna communicate.
Communicate. Okay,
The USB.
so you solder these two same way, right? So you go from the bottom up.
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah,
I will open.
yeah. That's fine. I've never worked with the mini before.
I usually prefer this one because
It's small,
It's super small and uses 3 volts instead of 5.
Oh, nice.
So usually,
Okay, got it.
okay, this one
Yep.
is like this.
And then
but these ones are
like
the top.
top. Okay, so
Because
you
we're
just
gonna
drop
connect.
the headers
Yeah,
on them to plug
exactly.
into the thing.
What I usually use is the other ones, like the. I don't have too much of these ones, but sometimes I
which
think
ones
we
you-
can just split these ones on the top.
Okay, so you do right angle on the top, so you can just drop it into the board
Yeah.
on the edge. Got it. All right.
Okay. So we do it like this,
Yeah.
and then on the sides, and then like this on
Yeah.
the top.
Let me.
Okay.
I've had too much of this one. Of this.
Oh, this doesn't have a switch, right? It just turns on automatically.
I think so. You should.
Yeah, I can feel the heat coming up.
Okay.
That's good. Do these things generally run hot, or how do they go? Do you know anything about them?
Not much. They are from here, so I don't. I'm not so sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. We are gonna
We'll
find out. Like,
out.
yeah.
No, actually, I think I need a little bit more of this. I don't quite have enough.
Yeah.
This one here.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. And if you put it on the table, it'll hold it in.
Yeah, I usually
fine.
also use like the breadboard.
Oh, you stick it in the breadboard and then put it
Yeah,
on
so that's a
top.
way in
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I
yeah.
find.
I think this one should be fine like this, but I'll probably
Yeah.
need the breadboard for these because you can stick them in the breadboard,
Yeah,
drop it on top,
exactly.
and then solder.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I make it usually. Yeah. Yeah,
Todos.
exactly.
¿Podemos ver cómo lo haces tú? Porque está un poco gruesa la punta del cautín. No sé si lo estás haciendo bien.
Sí, así.
¿Y tú cómo haces? ¿Cómo haces tú? Yo lo que hago es hacer una bolita en el cautín y después pegarlo.
Plastic melt.
What is it?
I'm melting
The plastic?
okay, yeah. The black.
Yeah, don't worry. I usually what I do is I first heat all the the point and
That's what I was doing, but then it melted.
Yeah.
There, actually, but it's not a problem, right?
No. I will let you. These ones are like the straight ones. You can use it like, in this case, like you're gonna solder these on the bottom,
Okay.
and this one on the top. Okay.
Sí, está, queda como plateado encima.
Yo como normalmente lo
So you
hago,
just do this right on the table here?
I
es que
think
caliento
so, because
ambos
not that one.
puntos.
This
Dos
one, the
puntos
best
que
way to do
vayan.
this one is to snap these off at length, put them in the breadboard, and then drop this on top
Lo
of
dejo
it
unos
so it holds
segundos.
stable on the breadboard.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah, and then that one I'm gonna do like this, because if I put it in the breadboard, it's got
Porque la idea
enough to
básicamente
balance
es que
it
como
up. But
este
if
es
it stays
metal,
like this, it's gonna be pretty stable as I solder it. But
Okay.
this one I'm gonna solder on the breadboard.
Yeah.
el propio calor
Makes sense.
se distribuye
Well, maybe I'll see how you do it first then,
de
because
forma
it's been a while
equitativa.
since I soldered anything.
Yeah, as I said, my stuff's all in storage. I haven't touched my soldering
puedes
iron in a year. I actually have a keyboard kit that I need to build, a mechanical keyboard kit that I want to put together. But let's see how this iron works. It's always kind of weird getting used to a new soldering iron. Because they're all a little bit different.
Yeah.
Es que no veo también que está hecho.
Yeah, the lab that I work
Clean
with,
the tip first, so like,
Okay.
La idea es otra vez. Tiene que pegar también el
yeah,
camino.
yeah, definitely clean it first.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause there's yeah, and clean it routinely as you go
Go on
through.
the end there.
So you might want to tell everybody to clean their iron before they use
the
it.
tips are.
Y no puede tocar
Yeah.
el anillo.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Okay, it's got a chisel tip on it, so it should be pretty cool.
Estoy tocando el otro.
Alright, let's see what we got here.
I just don't want to, if you don't mind.
Okay, so the way I usually do it is, I don't know how hot this thing is, but like,
El anillo no.
how do I describe it? Okay, right. So I always try to put the solder on the other side from where the
Es
tip
que la
is.
luz también.
So the goal is not to, you don't heat up the joint like that with the solder right next to it.
Heat up the pin.
You heat up the pin and you flow the solder around
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
then you heat up the pin and flow the solder around it. Now it's kind of tricky until you get the hang of it, but generally speaking, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the important part is basically
The only thing I'll have to say with these
yeah,
guys
this one,
is when
yeah,
you
I would
solder
put a little bit more,
headers,
just so
that's
you know.
plastic, so if it gets too
Yeah,
hot,
but the rest of them
then
looks super comfortable.
this might loosen up and the pin might slide
Yeah.
through it, but you can, this solder looks pretty easy to melt, so you shouldn't have that much. So let's see if we can get one of them done. And sometimes I use like, depending on what I'm doing, I'll have like a little technique where I use one finger to kind of stabilize the workpiece. That's it.
¿Quieres echar un café?
I'm pretty sure that's enough solder on that. And
Alright, well,
yeah.
let me try that out then.
So yeah, that doesn't have enough solder on it.
Okay.
But generally what I try to do is, especially when I'm soldering headers, I'll solder like the edges first so it's stable,
Yep.
and then I'll do the middle. It's best to, you can always add solder, you can't remove it.
Right.
And make sure you heat up the joint first. So give it like a couple seconds to heat up and then touch the solder on it. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Glasses.
Leonardo, do you happen to know Juan Duarte?
Who?
Juan Duarte?
Juan Duarte, it sounds.
Good friend of mine. He's from Mexico City as well.
Okay, okay.
He's
It sounds super familiar, right?
He's in the same,
In the same.
yeah, same field.
Yeah, why do I know him? Like,
Actually, we worked together last autumn. We were in a residency to work with like FM. We were working with like FM radio, building some small transmitters.
okay, oh, that's super cool. Yeah,
So you might know him because it's like.
I'm almost sure I know him. Like the name sounds super familiar.
Oh, I see. And then it gets
I'm almost sure. I
Yeah.
He's more like a sound artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
These irons are actually pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, like,
they get
yeah.
pretty hot.
Yeah.
The worst irons are those cheap $5 Radio Shack and Home Depot irons. Oh, they just ruin your projects.
These are like at least $10 ones.
Yeah, these are at least $10, I think.
Yep. This looks super.
And the solder is good quality too.
And so now these here
Mm-hmm.
are
This one's
like
in
here.
the top.
No, like that. From
Yeah,
the top.
exactly.
And
the other ones.
So, and then
So usually what I do
other than like here, so you put it on the bread board, right?
like this.
And usually what I do is like use also like the breadboard to stabilize it, yeah, so it can be like this, and then like that.
Yeah. Because of the way it goes. Yeah.
But then is it not gonna break like when I put it out? No, it's
No,
solid enough.
no, it's solid enough.
¿Quieres revisar este?
I think we're missing 2, 3.
¿Cuáles es que son?
These 2.
Estos dos?
Yes.
And if you need to take a break, just take a break. Better to go slow.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I got the 2 ends now.
Yeah.
Seem to be not terrible.
Yeah.
Probably not rich.
Yeah. It's gonna be pretty hard to bridge with this solder because the solder is nice and thin, and you'd have to like be feeding it a good long time for it to bridge. Yeah. I like to use thinner solder, even though it takes a little bit longer sometimes with the thinner solder. I don't mind it because I make less mistakes from bridging with the thinner solder. Is this spark fun solder or was it here as well? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I bet you this feels so soft. It's probably lead solder.
Yeah.
It feels pretty soft.
Yeah.
Actually, that's pretty hard because it's hard to find lead solder anymore, though. Is it? Can you look at it?
That's nice.
What's in it?
Doesn't? Oh, leather. Yeah.
Lead, yeah. It was too soft.
Yeah.
I can tell, yeah.
¿Qué sigue?
Yeah.
Ponemos el...
I didn't think it was allowed.
You can still buy it. You just can't export it to Europe and a lot of other places.
Are we all gonna die?
No, not from
today.
this much.
Not for, yeah.
Not from this
Yeah,
much.
someday.
You'll
At
be
some
fine.
point, but.
But we're not gonna die of lead poisoning.
No. Just don't lick your fingers. You'll be fine.
Can I lick this?
No, don't lick that either.
Okay. Ahora.
Misma idea. Todos estos por abajo
Por abajo.
y estos
Por
por
arriba.
arriba. Normalmente yo lo que hago con esto es que me recargo en
En el protocolo.
ajá, en el protocolo para que no se me mueva tanto.
Este se llama, es una protoboard y entonces está conectada en unas direcciones. O sea, acá le pones corriente y todo esto y a todo esto. Y después horizontalmente, si tú conectas algo acá, está recibiendo corriente de aquí. Están conectados. Es como una manera más fácil de cablear las cosas. Porque aquí están organizados los... Sí, le vamos a poner una pila, se le pone generalmente una pila aquí al medio y aquí más, y queda toda, por electricidad, queda toda cargada, pero de una manera organizada, entonces puedes hacer circuitos. En este momento no estamos haciendo nada, solo las cosas que van a porque esto se instala. Entonces es muy fácil de soldar, pero no hay nada conectado. ¿Quieres hacerlo?
Y ya vienen así con las dimensiones.
Can I have more solar?
¿Qué se hizo? Normalmente se hace aquí el circuito y si estás haciendo algo grande lo dejas todo acá. Pero después lo que puedes hacer es, aquí haces el diseño y la mandas a hacer. Que son esas cositas así chiquitas verdes. Tienen como, ¿sabes? Como lo que tiene adentro un computador. Esto es solo por eso se llama protoboard, porque es para hacer prototipos.
Or breadboard to make bread.
Y aquí ya como que uno manda a hacer el circuito. En esta que ya es como de verdad. Pero
Entonces, por
los
ejemplo,
artistas
este-
por lo general dejan todo en nuestro todo.
Sí. Por ejemplo, este es justo para esto. Entonces este va aquí y el Arduino va aquí. Entonces ya no, bueno, pero para, o sea, justo primero testeas todo aquí en una protoboard y luego ya lo puedes como
Mandar a hacer.
mandar a hacer como esto.
¿Qué? ¿Quieres soldar esto?
Puedes empezar tú.
So you want to solder it something like this.
Yeah, there you go. That way it holds nice and steady. Ah, I see. Okay.
You need more headers as the
I will, thank you. Yeah, I will need some more headers, please. Yeah. perfect size, actually.
¿Sí has visto esas lupitas? Las así que tienen con pinzas.
Como bracitos.
Para ayudar. Pues para otras cosas que normalmente no tienen reconocimiento en público. Y una lucecita.
Además estos de 90 grados, por si quieren.
Ah, listo. Súper.
Para la parte de arriba, igual queda mejor con una. Siempre me gusta de los colombianos y de los chilenos. De una.
Can I get the princess? Thank you.
Yeah, for now, I think so. I think everybody's pretty much done. Thank you.
Very suspicious of that brown one myself.
Sorry.
Whatever.
Was it actually was that the right direction?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's because I thought like maybe. So why don't you select here? Ah, because there's no contact. I'm stupid.
Yeah. No, but
Ah, yeah, you could also, right?
you could also. Yeah, but the whole idea is this is sticks there,
Oh yeah, sure.
and here you connect to the USB using a PDI. Just melt a little bit these two just because I'm not sure this is making I'm not sure if this is making like enough contact, and I will just like strip this.
Do you have for this big one? Do you have like a solder? It's like solder socket.
Or you can just like put the same.
Take it out?
Yeah.
Really?
Solder soccer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
I don't know what is the name. Yeah,
Maybe Andrew knows.
Huh?
How do you call this? Like a solder sucker? Like.
Oh, a solder sucker.
Yeah, that's how.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
That's nice.
That's exactly what it's called. I can never get them to work.
It's not the best device in the world, but it kind of works.
I like the braid.
Everybody has the 90 degrees.
Yes. Well, I do.
Because I found
The what? Sorry.
the 90 degrees.
I don't have the battery.
Él va a tender a quedarse
This,
en el anillo.
That's
Solo como
Por cómo está hecho.
por los materiales, sí. Tiene que estar tocando los dos. Mira que ella hay un montón, tiene un montón aquí en el frente. Eso es una gorra, o sea, no tienes que ponerlo.
Ah, sí.
Sí, solo tienes que tocar las dos al tiempo. En teoría, sí, lo logro ahí bien. Tocas las dos al tiempo.
what are we using for? Does the Arduino Mini have the USB serial built into it, or do you have a USB serial adapter?
FTDI.
Oh, you have the FTDI. Awesome. Thank you. You said you're based in Mexico City?
Between Mexico City and Buffalo.
Okay, nice.
And where?
And Buffalo?
Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. The coldest place in the US.
Really?
So,
In which state is it?
in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is like in the it's like the solar.
So
It's like in the other, like right in the opposite side of the state. You see like we're in the corner, like the state is like a kind of a square. We're in this corner, and Buffalo is in the like in the opposite corner.
How is it? Nice place?
It's interesting, I would say. Like it's like a Rust Belt town.
What?
A Rust Belt town, like kind of a yeah. It's a term they use here to describe this kind of post-industrial cities.
You know what my favorite place in Mexico is?
Which one?
You know what my favorite place in Mexico is? Holbox.
Yeah, that's super
I
nice.
love Holbox.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
The
It's kind of the
people,
paradise.
the people are amazing.
Yeah.
It's so relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Here you have some yum.
Thank you.
Yeah, the thing with Buffalo is basically that it is a kind of a snow machine. So you have the lake, like the lake that divides the United States from Canada, and like the wind comes, like it grabs water from the lake and then it travels to Buffalo. So there's like 6 places in the whole earth that has that much snow.
Really?
So in the winter you have like 6 feet or 7 feet of snow.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it is like in one night you can come from nothing to have like a wall of
Really?
snow. Yeah.
Can you ski there?
Yeah.
Really? So there's mountains?
No, but close
ski?
from there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is famous for its snow.
Do you ski?
No, I never learned. In Mexico, you don't have chances to do it.
Sure.
I skate,
Okay.
but not ski.
I've heard that snowboard is pretty similar.
That's nice. No, I've never done it that way, but it actually looks nicer.
So how did you do it?
Like in the top, this one's on the top, but it looks nicer.
Oh.
Maybe I will start doing it that way.
I don't know, I didn't think much.
No, but it works. It's really good. So we're good? Okay, so then let's touch this. And we are going like the setup would be something like this, just for them not to cross. You know how this is like connected in the inside. Okay. So basically we could use this one. This one here. The holidays, like during we have like a connection.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, basically like ground. I would use like the red and the black just to ground and the power, which are this one, red, and You is the power.
Okay.
And you can take it from the ground. You can take it from here. For the power, you have to take it from VCC.
Okay.
Oh, there's more on the board.
Voltage or voltage currents? I don't know. So,
Do I need to like?
no, not necessarily. I do.
There's not many connections.
Yeah, there are only 6 connections.
So-
and you can take the ground from
okay.
here.
I want to see how you recommend hooking it
to
up.
the ground.
How do you recommend plugging these together on the board?
Oh, yeah. I would usually.
Probably leave this hanging off the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
So like something like so.
Yeah, exactly. And this one like here or here, just to.
Okay.
You having fun, Salvador?
No.
Okay, and then this one like so a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know the little trick that it's better to hook up the
All right, I think.
first?
That looks super nice.
Yeah, they're not too terrible.
Yeah, too
No.
Actually seem connected.
And they're really nice.
No.
So like
Really
before
nice.
putting any solder, it's good to put first the iron
Yeah. So
on
like
the
So that it.
you know
so
how
that
this
it
is
hits it.
connected
Yeah,
on the inside.
you do that right?
Okay, so
Because it makes
Yeah,
a huge difference. It's much
this one
easier
goes
when you do that.
here or here or whatever.
Okay. Well, probably.
Yeah, probably here it uses less space. So the connections are here, or you can
Which
also.
one is it?
Is the one
Connections.
connections.
Okay.
Okay. The only ground are those two. Those two
Okay.
white ones, and the 5 volts or 3 volts you can take them from VCC. This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good plan.
That's a way in which you could do it. You could also like set up in Arduino like a one pin as a high, and you could use whichever like any pin. But in this case, we can do it directly from VCC. Okay.
So where? Oh, that goes to.
To voltage in out, which is this one.
Oh, okay. To VO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. VCC there.
Mhm.
And we have. Oh yeah. Where?
Here you have
is- Oh, okay. Thanks.
So when you say ground to ground, you mean ground on the phone to ground on the Arduino, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you have 2 grounds here. You have
Yes.
this one, and you have this.
So we
one.
can use either one of them.
Yeah, you can use because they're connected inside. And this one, the VIO.
Yeah, goes to
VCC.
VCC. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
And you said we could use either ground.
Yeah, you can use.
Alright.
And in case, like, what I did once was like using one of the other pins, like any digital pin can be enabled as a voltage out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is not necessarily that
That
but
one,
In
right.
this case,
Yeah, got it.
You want to make the connections yourself, so you want to do it further. Then basically you just want to put it somewhere here.
So it doesn't matter which side.
No, but the thing is, if we just don't make, they shouldn't overlap.
You want that they, yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
That they're not
Yeah, they shouldn't.
that close to each
And
other.
basically now, when you want to make a connection, for example, if you would want to connect this with that, you can just take any of the pins from this line, because they are all connected to this. You know what I mean? And you can bring it to any of the pins of this line, because they are all connected. So for example, when he says like here you connect VIO to 5 volt, like you take this VIO here, so near this pin, to like this VCC is the 5 volt here. So you just do like that, and there you have your connection. For example.
So digital 2 is the pin number 2?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
soldar estos.
También necesito otro.
Estos van. Acá voy.
Hay que soldarlos por abajo.
Sí.
Oh, I guess I should have plugged in the SIM card, right?
Yeah.
You said we have to go on the website and make an account?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like a
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, like the process of
Activating the card and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Let me do
The
that.
thing is just like a phone operator.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you-
it's a phone comment. Yeah, for activating your SIM cards, you can go to that website and just like follow like the steps. There's a part in which it will ask for a credit card just because it will like try to like in this case like what thing does is basically like it charges you for whatever you use. But in this case, if you don't use it too much, it like cents. But what it will do at the moment of registering is like it will charge you $1 and then return
Credit
it just to
Right.
yeah, just to make sure that it is like a valid credit card. But it won't charge you like anything on the
Okay, no problem.
just make sure like if you don't use it like constantly, like you can just disable the account.
Got it.
¿Lo revisaría?
Yeah. Listo. Sí, a mí me gustan mucho esos en lugar de los unos, se me hace como súper práctico.
Podemos mirar las condiciones.
Todo también lo puse en el
Ah,
sí, para que igual incluso después si lo quieren revisar o
Good. I think we're all connected here.
Yep. Since bracket. Recent. Okay.
Alright, so I think I'm gonna probably use my own SIM card in here.
Okay.
Should we connect it up to the computer? and
yeah.
then
Yeah,
check it out?
This long is the SIM card number.
Yeah.
And what is the contact number?
Your
They want another phone number?
I suppose you can just like do another, you know. Yeah.
Maybe I can just put
Yeah, and you can even like make a not a real phone. It won't check like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a fake name already.
Yeah. Exactly. It can be okay.
Okay, based on the colors, I'm going to guess that it goes this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So what we got here. So then
let me-
I need to plug in the battery as
Yeah.
well.
Let me give you. I'm charging some batteries.
Okay.
Let me give you ones of these ones. Okay, so for the batteries, I'm using this really fancy charger which charge a lot of batteries at the same time. But you can use any like a phone charger. Like you can just cut like the plug from the charger and connect like the positive and negative to the pins in here, and that's it. Like you don't need like any special like this was just because I needed like to connect all of them at the same time. But you don't need this kind of small board to make the charge.
How do you charge the batteries?
What?
What do you use to charge them?
I use these ones, but what I was telling you is that you can cut like an old phone charger, and just like use the usually the phone chargers just have like two wires, and you plug them directly to them.
If you want to recharge these ones, there.
That like the phone charger.
Ah, okay, right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So this should be enough charge now.
Oh, thank you.
So usually plug them in two wires from the charger directly. So these two. That's it.
Two which pins?
Oh no, but I mean if you want to recharge it. Like,
Yeah.
and in this case, just like here. That's it.
And this already has a charge?
I had it charging a little bit on my computer, so supposedly it should have enough charge now.
And can you just power it on sector?
Somewhat.
Can you power it on the sector? On directly from the plug? From a charger?
Yeah, you can power it from here. You can attach it like directly from.
Oh yeah, right.
Micro USB.
So if you have a micro USB charger, it's fine too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
there's no security issue.
No.
No.
You can directly like.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I have it.
Because I've always been told that it's a bit dangerous to do that. But,
To do what, like
to plug like a circuit that you solder yourself to the sector.
Oh no, but in this case, I mean it's really small voltages.
And you know what is the email?
It's like
Is
a
it
long.
a really long one?
Yeah, it's a long one. This one.
Okay.
It comes here, and also it is printed in this.
Okay, I see.
The email is basically a long like ID number, which is like unique for each card. So usually like a phone company like this doesn't have any SIM card has a real number. Like your phone number is not something that comes with the SIM card, or it's something like the phone company assigns to the SIM card. So what is unique is your email ID,
Okay.
and the other one just can switch between. Like a company can say like, oh, now your number is this, and that's it.
So is this one?
So. Okay, I think we're.
Which size SIM card does this? Oh, the big one.
Yeah.
Got it.
Te falta la corriente. Qué bueno. Y que igual corta estos tres para que no estén volando.
¿Y dónde están? ¿Tres o cinco?
BSC. En el caso de los mini, justo la salida de corriente es por
Do you have the same mini yet?
o puedes hacer un setup de cualquier pin como
And
antes.
I'm just gonna attach this
No,
shortly here.
I think I'm doing this right. I have to punch out which section? I don't know. So on the SIM card, do I punch it out of?
No, I think it should like
Maybe I'm not doing it.
GSM.
Oh, I see. It slides in there. Okay, got it now. I see. Okay, I see. So it slides in the section. Yeah.
Perfectly.
Yeah. I was trying to put it on, and then I was like, why isn't it fitting?
I'm at the same step and I don't manage to activate.
get another really quick for the main room for a component. Can I
I put all the numbers
can
and
you
for
bring
me
it
it
yet?
says like it's not valid. I mean actually I don't manage to put all the numbers.
It doesn't let.
No. Sure. So have you tried to say I'm using GSM or whatever? Skip this step.
Yeah. And I put this one.
Really? And it works for you?
Yeah. In the.
It's not valid.
Did you put the last? The F?
No. But I don't have
But you have to go to here. Yeah. And I will let you. Where would you be using this one? Chat. Street. Que no han encontrado la dirección. ¿Dónde estamos?
I gotta install Arduino, don't I? Are you using Miniterm?
Minicom.
Minicom. That's what I meant to say.
Cuando quieres hacer clic, a veces si no hacen clic bien, entonces sacan No, you just have to put your predictor number.
Oh, this is the FTDI. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Doesn't sound like a scam.
Right. Yeah, I'm familiar with all that. Yeah. I can if he's
And
yeah.
then you cannot opt out, right? You have 1 month free, but you cannot
So is one of
unregister.
these the firmware we need? to
Yeah,
look
the dot INO
Credit
file.
card number.
at? Okay.
No, it will only like charge $1 and then bring it back to your account just to know that it is a real account. And then then you have to unregister account.
So they will not charge to start to like charge. Like in 6 months, I receive a
No.
bill.
Okay, so where are we? We are all in the same step. We have all
Like why are boards?
We're activating this.
Okay.
Tell me when you're done.
Friend, this card was not approved.
Trata con la mía.
A lo mejor es porque es de otro país.
Puede ser. Trata con la mía. Se podemos hacer un número de estar ¿dónde está?
Está ahí.
Ah. Una nueva.
This is the FTD.
¿Sí? Sure.
Security number.
Credit card was not approved.
No one is getting approved.
Maybe it's also because it's not American.
Okay.
This one?
Ah, la mía sí. Sí.
Pero ella tiene de aquí.
De esa. Ok. Pero no me van a correr nada.
No. No, te va a cobrar $1 y luego te lo va a regresar a la cuenta.
Sí, sí.
Ajá, es eso para comprobar que es una... You can also like in some stores they sell these fake credit cards with like $1 or $2 of credit that you can use just to make this kind of yeah. I shouldn't have said that with a microphone in mute, right?
We can just compare. Sorry to put it in
Hmm?
Yeah, it's not working.
The credit card?
No.
Mhm. You can try mine. Just please remember to unregister later.
¿Esta no? ¿Pero esta puesta?
Yeah, this is a lot of trust.
Very trusting.
Yeah,
Ah,
this is a lot of trust. So,
Hay que cortar.
so make it work, right?
¿Es pequeña?
I buy only like things that are worth buying.
Yeah, yeah. Please
Don't worry, Dad.
don't use it
We shouldn't need that, but
for your new
Alright. So-
LSD screen, super smart TV.
That
Yeah.
was like a QLED, this new Samsung QLED screen.
ooh,
Yeah.
fancy. Did you get the firmware uploaded?
It's very expensive.
Not yet.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Don't
yeah.
use it for
I'm just installing the.
The Arduino? Yeah.
Did you want to use the cable? In the meantime?
Let's see how I do with setting up this Arduino installer first.
Well, the
Cat is already registered with an RT account.
what are you doing?
How will we send a lot of SMSs?
No.
Because I'm not really paying for this. My work is my. It's just-
Okay.
Creo que nosotros estamos. ¿Cómo comprobamos?
Ah, lo vamos a conectar ahora.
Vale. ¿Tú me haces,
Okay.
no?
Sí.
Sí, chiquito.
Okay, so let's
go to the next part of this. Just I wanted to show you first like what is in the inside of the repository of the GitHub. So what I put basically there, it's some of the code for Arduino, which is the code that we are gonna upload to the different boards. We have the connections, which we already use. We have this is an example of a bot which already works. So you could use that as an example if you want to then later like design a more complex, more sophisticated bot. That is a really good example. This one basically takes, as I was telling you, like takes a key, like it tries to find any of these words, and then it would use them to respond with any of these answers. So for example, if I find in a phrase the word sorry, it would answer, please don't apologize. And if it says sorry again for a second time, it would say like, apologize are not necessary. And if it says sorry for a third time, it would say, I've told you that apologize are not required. So this is what I was telling you about the keywords, like how a bot is designed. This is an actual, like the script for an actual bot. So this is, for example, how it uses like some keywords just to trigger like different kind of responses. So I don't know, you could you could use this kind of a script to also like use like design how certain kind of communication can work in terms of like how you could expect something to appear in a conversation, and then how you would respond to it, and make that kind of a. So this is just an example of that.
And the people that write this kind of dialogues are computer scientists or linguists?
Most of them are computer scientists, as I know, but a lot of times they're like teamworks in which there would be like someone like more like from the language or. You know.
I told you about this girl that she's a writer, and she was hired to design the personality of a bot of a bank, and she did like a genderless bot.
Yeah.
Because I always expect them to be like girly.
That is also like super interesting. Like you can like this has a lot of bias in terms of like how you expect, like because you are designing communication, so you can like start like designing some kind of messages depending on what you expect people to tell you, but also like what you expect like to be answered. So you could also like switch from that, like to say like, oh, if I find, I don't know, like a certain phrase, you can like immediately like trigger something like unexpected from it. Like I say like, oh, yeah, the gender thing is interesting. So also I put this file, which is basically like the design. If you then after you wanna like follow a little bit with building this stuff, it's the design of a small board. It is basically this. And it's like the small board for a circuit. If you wanna jump from the breadboard to an actual circuit, you could use this one.
Right,
like it has a super simple. It has like the same connections, and you just have to print it and use it for having your own. And the most interesting part, obviously, is the code, the Arduino code. So this is the code that we are going to work with. So basically, we need two things. One is if you don't have Arduino on your computer, please download Arduino first. Second, we need a library called Fauna, which is basically for the same like the same producer that made that designed the board, which is Adafruit. So if you put in Google like Adafruit Fauna library, you certainly.
Okay, so we have to download the Fauna library and put it in the folder.
Yeah, in the Arduino folder.
With the Arduino. Wait, which folder do we put the Fauna library in?
In the Arduino folder, like when you install Arduino, immediately it creates a library called
so put it in that folder.
Libraries.
Got it.
And you put it in there.
Got it.
Sí, ahí está abierto. Creo que ya lo abrí.
So let's do that, and then I will explain a little bit about the code and how it's working.
And also how it works with the chipset, because again, I said like that it could be like something interesting for you if you want to play it later, like trying to hack other phones. And
Right. The Arduino now, the latest Arduino has like a library manager, so you can just search in the library manager for phono. So the Adafruit phono library.
Perfect.
So there is that in the latest Arduino?
Like the latest distribution has a.
It has a library manager. So if you go to,
but not for Linux. I don't know.
oh, I don't. It
No,
should. There's usually one code base.
No, but the Linux one doesn't
Oh,
have
wow.
the library manager.
So
Yeah, I know because I couldn't
Oh, okay.
run it from a Raspberry Pi like that library. Yeah, I mean it's the same. You have just to
Yeah, you just
make
have to
it
do it
manually, but
manually.
yeah.
Go to the top of the page. I put yes, but Arduino on that.
Perfect. So, while we okay, so basically, what we are making with this code, we have like two parts. One thing is what the library is doing with the chipset, how it is interfacing with the chipset, and the second one is how we build upon like the library. So basically, how the library works. You see the library from the inside to say it some way. It is using something called the AT commands. I don't know if you have used AT commands at some point.
I doubt anybody here even knows what that is.
Okay, AT commands stand for attention. Basically, a lot of the like in how to say, like in the bottom layer of a lot of these chipsets, like the way in which you communicate to them is with these AT commands. So what you tell them is like attention. Like for some points, I'm going to give you some instructions which are like basically like super encoded instructions, and then it will like I don't know, like make some certain activities depending on the instruction that I'm telling it to do. Okay. So these AT commands, for example, are any device, like any of these devices, are basically based on that. Like upon that set of instructions, then you build like other layers of programming. But in the bottom layer, it is that. Like basically, you use these like super simple AT commands. So why would we need a library if you can like communicate directly to the AT commands? Basically, because it's super difficult to program with AT commands. Because the AT commands, how they work is basically like they time out. So you call for you say like AT, and that will start like a certain process inside of the microchip, like for a certain time. Instead of doing all the processes that it is programmed to do, it will just be hearing you. And if it times out, it returns to its normal processes. So that's a way in which like all these chipsets are designed just for you to be able to communicate and program them. Because other way, if it didn't have like these two modes, like a programming mode and a processing mode, you wouldn't be able to really communicate to them. Because a lot of times also you are using the serial port to communicate with them. And that means like you only have two ways of communication, like the send and receive. And if you are using that to other process and you want to also be programming, you won't be able to. So the AT is basically just that, like a call for attention, like paying attention, I'm going to program you. That's what you make with an AT command. So why I said that was interesting, basically because the AT commands, like you could use these this, and I mean you could use, because I haven't gone that far with this part. This is like the next step for me in terms of like what I want to do with this. But basically, you can hack, as I told you, like this chipset is the same one that the old Nokia phones use, and you can interface like through serial communication to those ones, like basically like a physical hacking of a Nokia phone. Like you could do like two small holes and connect to the, if you know which are like the two legs in which like the communication is happening. You can connect to the serial, like the serial port of the chipset by itself, and you could start like telling him these 80 commands. So basically, to a serial port, you say 80 plus and any of these commands. So you can see like here are the basic actions of what we expect from a phone. Basically, we have a delete messages, send a comment, list messages, read messages, create a new message, send a message, what we expect in terms of SMS. These are the instructions which are basically like being enabled by the library. But again, there's a library, so we don't have to deal with this like button layer. This is just for you to know why it works, just to open in a way like the black box. And then each one of these commands will prompt for a return message, which is basically like it could be like an error message depending on what you expect it to do. Like you send a message and you usually like expect it to be confirmed that something was received. So these error commands are basically for you to know what happens in terms of like what you expect to like each of these actions to happen. But again, this is a layer, like this is just for you to know that this is happening in the background. And this is a layer which we usually don't work with. But it is interesting if you want to, at some point, like to jump to this other layer, that's the information available. Okay, then in the library, we have, if we go to the library, this is how the library deals with these 80 commands. Basically, it deals like upon each of these commands, it builds certain functions. So this is already on C++, and you can use it also like not only in Arduino, but you could also like create an application to deal with all the communication with the 80 commands just by using the serial port. So basically, we use this with like functions just to prompt for you can start seeing like if you 80 plus and whatever is this comment. Okay, so the library basically, it's a super simple library in a sense, basically because what it is doing is interfacing between a more common way to program, like that we are used to, like this kind of programming, instead of the 80, which is like a total pain. Like, yeah, like if you have, if you once had to do this for whatever reason, you would know, like it is a total pain. Like you would spend days just trying to make a really simple thing. Yeah, but this exists. And then this is the library in the background, and this is how the code looks.
When you're ready for the
So the code, basically, at the beginning we are like just importing like the library. We are telling it which are the pins which we're using to communicate. In this case, you have to change the pins to the ones that you are actually using, or I could just also I could just like change the code, because that's the one that I'm using for this one. But
oh, we have to update the pin.
no, yeah, you just have to change it to the ones that you are actually using, because I just like move a little bit like the rows, like for me for my design.
Sí, entonces,
But the idea is basically that you have to make it.
I see.
Yeah, you are using 234, and I was using 456.
So just change our code to 234.
234. Yeah, basically that's it. Okay, so the other part is basically, since we want, here we are using another library which is called software serial. Software serial basically enables Arduino to use other pins as a way to communicate. It creates kind of a virtual serial port of communication, because a lot of the times what we are going to be using is basically like, since we are interfacing with the phone board through serial communication, we want to have a way to communicate to it, but at the same time using the natural serial port of the Arduino to communicate to the console to be able to see what is happening in the programming. So Arduino only has one natural serial port, like a physical serial port, if that makes sense. Which is in the Arduino Uno, it's basically like the pin 0 and 1, and here in these small ones is the TX, RX, which are like the first ones in the board. These ones, if you are connected to the FTDI, these ones like the RX and TX are already being used, so you cannot use it to interface to the board. That's why we are creating like a virtual serial port, and then we are going to be using that as a way to communicate to the phone. That is clear?
Oh, I see. So the RX and TX, this version of the Arduino only has one.
Also, the only one that has more physical serial ports is the Arduino Mega.
The Mega, yeah.
Yeah, the big one.
So you just do like a software bit bang serial.
Exactly.
port.
It is a software that is why it's called
serial.
Yeah, software serial, because you are defining a serial port through the pins, the digital pins. That was kind of clear, like the. What was it?
So you said we don't have enough serial ports? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So what
We
are you using serial ports?
We only have one serial port, one physical serial port, which is the RX TX.
You mean on the
Arduino? No, in the Arduino.
Yeah.
We're here.
Okay.
So you can see we have RX and TX. These two are wired inside of the board. These two are wired to this RX TX.
Okay.
So when you plug the FTDI, when you want to program it and you plug it like this to your computer, you are actually using already these two. So if we want to interface from the Arduino to the phone, the problem right now would be like, if I'm using the natural physical port, I could be creating a crash in the communication, because I'm already using the same port to communicate to the computer. So the way in which we make this is basically creating a virtual serial port, which is a software-defined serial port.
So by using the digital.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're doing in the code. So in the code, when we set,
if looking at the source code, you should be able to connect to it via Minicom,
So we need to download
and then you should see shut down the Arduino.
so when we have defined like this in the code, like the Arduino code, when you define 456, which in your case is
So, and do you know what the
9600, according to the source code, it's 9600, and typically with the Arduino it's 8 and 1.
Okay.
Yeah, and then whatever your device is.
So the same one that I use for programming it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, you didn't save your setup. Question mark. There you go. You got it.
Okay.
that makes sense.
I think it's just I don't have a SIM card in it yet. So that's probably
Yeah.
But it prompted like a.
Yeah, he's getting the output.
AT commands.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it is not working. Like it will keep like making AT until it confirms that it is working, but the code is working. Like we can then
troubleshoot. But
Yeah, that's probably why
that is probably because you don't have a
SIM card.
You put a SIM card.
Yeah, but if you put a SIM card, it will confirm like the safety, because right now it is just like looking to connect.
Okay. Do I have to be particularly careful in any way that I don't like disconnect these?
No,
Power
no,
it down?
What I would usually do is unplug it from the computer.
Yeah, power it down
And then
first,
take out the
definitely.
battery?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Do you have another one so I can?
No, I only have two, because they would have like initially, like when this was supposed to happen on Thursday, like some guys that were doing like another workshop that same day had a lot of FTDIs, and now we only have two, so we have to share.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Fine,
I'm really sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Supposedly we had
Do you want
enough.
to try?
Yeah, I can try while you put your SIM card in, because I updated my code. Yeah, I wasn't getting any output when I first put this on there, but maybe this
Como
will be better.
quieren, igual vayan cargando el código, con. Sí, sí. I will take this just for a second. Sí, estaba.
Ah, ya, ya.
Para eso,
Ya, listo.
exacto. Estas van acá y esta ya directo a la computadora.
Listo.
Alright,
Sí, exacto.
new code.
So this software serial you need to download.
We need to what?
Do we need to download it? This software.
Usually
Or is
it
it
comes with
included?
the Arduino package.
Yeah, it should be there. You should.
Yeah, it should be there with the Arduino installation.
I don't find it in the libraries.
It is already supposedly it is part of the main distribution, so you shouldn't just try to. You're in Arduino. Go to Arduino.
Yeah.
Just compile it.
Oh yeah, it was a little bit tricky. You slide it in here.
Okay.
No. You gotta open it back.
I see.
Yeah, and then you slide. Yeah, that got me too. I was because I tried to put it on there and then close it, but yeah.
What about me?
Y cuando lo pones a flow, la lucecita va a hacer. Y eso
Yes, except my terminal is configured incorrectly. What did I do?
Usually, in what are you using? You're in Linux.
Yeah, I think I just have my flow control set wrong.
Okay.
You
Okay.
should be able to just.
Mira,
Oh,
tenemos
there we
este
go.
error.
Got it jammed in there.
9608 in 1, no flow control.
¿Es algo del nombre del archivo?
Okay.
No, normalmente cuando tienes problemas para subir,
Ah, es el puerto. Hay que cambiar el.
te vas a primero definir la tarjeta. En este caso estamos
No. What do you have your settings set to in Minicom?
I'll show you what I used. I had C, and then
Esto va a abrir
No, 9608 in 1. That's what I thought too. Alright, let me try one more thing.
328. Ese es nuestro procesador. ¿Cómo sabemos que es ese?
9608 in 1, and none of the flow control options
Aquí
are
se
on,
pone
right?
el procesador.
that's right.
Entonces siempre, como si tienen duda de eso, siempre lo pueden leer directo del procesador. Y luego, yo y los Mac no nos llevamos, ¿eh? Siempre me pasa mucho eso. Y luego justo ya, escogimos el puerto, que en este caso no parece.
Oh yeah, no. Lock bits.
Puede ser. Si estamos bien conectados.
Podemos probar este USB
Okay.
y reiniciar.
A ver, vamos a revisar un poco la placa. Se ve bien. Ah, mira, creo que este no está bien soldado. Sí, creo que es eso. Sí, porque si no te reconoce el puerto, quiere decir que no está reconociendo que hay un device conectado. Okay, so following a little bit with the code. Here we are initializing the code basically with the same
variables that would tell Arduino, like that would be the ones that we are using for connecting to the software serial. Then I will skip this part because it is not that important. I'm using this as a way to switching this part, like, which is SMS mode, which will be like the initial mode. Basically because I created two modes of the programming. One is the SMS mode, in which it will be like basically like answering like the SMS messages that it gets, and another one which I call commands, which are basically like a way in which I can like monitor a little bit of what is happening inside of the board in case there's like troubleshooting or that kind of stuff. So the first part is that we are going to begin like a serial communication to the board. And here, when we set phone as serial begin, this is the speed of the serial communication that we are using. You just have to be sure that when you open the Arduino, let me open my own Arduino. But when you open Arduino, like the console, like the how do you call it here, like the monitor, that you are actually. Well, when you open the console, basically you have to see that it is on the same baud rate. So if you're using 9600, basically you want to have the same speed in the monitor. That's one thing. So usually, sorry.
Where do you see the baud rate?
The monitor, you initialize it. In this
sure, you can check yours. I'll make sure mine's wired up properly. Maybe I crossed some wires because it's garbled.
So here, this is your baud rate. Use this.
So what that is monitoring
the communication to the Arduino.
Maybe I have the wrong code.
I will tell you, like I will go step to step, like how to upload the program and that.
Okay.
I'm just like trying to go through the code so we know what is going to happen.
Sure.
And then we go to the last part, which is basically like trying to upload everything. So as I told you, like we have the SMS mode, which is basically like the part of the program in which we will like automatize like what happens in terms of like receiving and sending messages, and the other part is like the command mode, which is basically like a part of the programming which will be enabled in case that we want to monitor what is happening with our board. So initially it starts like a SMS mode. But here, let me show you. Well, first, how much experience you have with Arduino, like in general? Like, should I like go a little bit like behind, like explain a little bit like the beginnings of Arduino?
Maybe fast.
Okay. Okay. Really quick. Like, what is that we're in? Because I see we're having some troubles here. This is the Arduino platform. This is like the way in which we usually program the Arduino board. And the Arduino board is basically a small like microchip which let us like create like I don't know, like control these different pins to create like certain kinds of interaction or certain kinds of like different like interactive kind of I don't know, automatizations in some way. Basically, what we have is a set of pins which we can set as an example. It could be like a high and low, which means like turn on or turn off. And basically, that enables us to use things like motors or LEDs or speakers or control that kind of hardware. In this case, the hardware that we are controlling is the phone board Where we are doing is using the same digital pins to create a way to communicate to it, to the serial communication. That's kind of clear. Okay, the different parts of the interface are basically like you can see like the interface is super simple. This is like the only window. In this window, basically you put all the code that you want to upload to the Arduino board, and you have like these two different buttons. One, this is for compiling. Basically, it will check that there's no errors in the code that you're using. And this one, you can use it just like to check, for example, if you don't have a library or if there's an error in your code that you are not sure and you don't want to upload it yet to the Arduino and you just want to know if there's a problem, you can verify or compile it. This other is the upload button. When you are sure that you want to upload a certain program to your board, you're just going to push it and it will go through it will program your microchip. So in order for it to work, you usually, I'm sorry that this is in Spanish, it will be easier in English. But you all kind of understand what like that. This one is tools. In your case, this one is tab is tools. So in tools, usually what you first, before you upload your program to your board, basically you go to this part, which is in which you tell Arduino which is like the model of Arduino that you're using. In this case, we have to select Arduino Pro or Pro Mini. Then it will prompt like, if you select that, it will appear another option which says processor, and you have like just after the Arduino Pro or Pro Mini, it will appear this other option, which basically says which is the processor of the Arduino.
Mine says 328p.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. 3 volts.
Yeah, 3.3
okay.
volt.
Yeah, basically because this Arduino Mini Pro exists in 4 versions. It exists in 5 volts and it exists in 3 volts. Okay? The difference is basically nothing. Like one uses 5 volts and the other uses 3 volts. But also, each one of the different voltages comes with 2 different kinds of processors. This is the processor, the small black box in the board. If you see really carefully in these super difficult to see small letters, it says 328p. Okay, that is your processor. The other one was actually like an older version, which doesn't have enough memory. So, for example, I once tried to do this same thing with an older one, and it wouldn't have enough memory to upload the code for this example. So we are using this one because it has more memory. Okay, that's the main difference between them. So once that we have selected first like the model of the Arduino and then the processor that we are using, it will ask you which port are you using. Depending on which is the system, if it is a Windows computer as mine, it will say something like COM16, COM20, COM something like that. If it is a Linux machine, it will probably say something like USB serial, well, like SER0. Usually you use the 0 one. And if it is a Mac, I think it's TTI something like 0 or something like that. But the thing is, like, you have to select like the port in which you are going to be communicating to the board. Once that we have that, and once that we have the code, basically we just upload the code to we use the upload button to upload all the code to the board, and that's mainly it. So let's try to do that. Let's try all to upload our codes to our boards, and then we can.
What did you select?
I need to.
It's not.
Use Linux.
Yeah.
I think I need to change the permissions of the.
On the
You can enable them in a.
Board.
But did it ask you for the processor? You don't have a drop down for processor? What did I do?
You usually see these two blink once the data is uploaded.
Okay.
Pro Mini? Yes. That is weird.
So how do you print to this console?
It will. There's different prints in the code. But let me just upload them like the code, and then we can. Because I think we have to troubleshoot something with you. There's something like that is. Yeah, because it should have like found the phone address. Most probably it's just like a. Which ones? Oh, I think I told you. Yeah, we have to troubleshoot with this, but let me first like upload the code with them, and then we can troubleshoot with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Can I just unplug?
Yeah.
Do you know what this means?
Wow. It's in it is not being able to.
I have.
Every
This
day
is what I
actually
have,
the jet lag
right?
is coming. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see the port.
Sorry.
Pro Mini. The port is the right port.
Yeah, and then.
Usually it is something different.
No. On the Mac,
But
that's how
then
it
it's
is on the
gone.
newer
It's
Mac.
the morning already.
Yeah, I've never
It was
seen
the
that.
morning.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like seeing USB to.
Well, it recognizes
It recognizes it. It just can't program it.
Okay. Let us.
We're sure we've got that, right?
Let us try again just to see.
Want me to shut it down?
No, just like sorry.
Just upload it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So that's okay. What are you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm just actually. I think it's all loaded on here. I realized my SIM card doesn't it doesn't operate on 2G,
Okay.
so I'm not sure if I want to set up this whole chip here, but and I don't have my other SIM card, but if I can maybe try with a different SIM card, I don't know.
Okay.
I can just borrow someone else's, but I think.
Yeah, I think that.
Oh, let me reset the USB
Okay.
when it.
Yeah, because it seems it is not.
Yeah, maybe it's USB. Let's try resetting the USB.
Okay.
Let's shut that down.
For
Unplug
you,
that.
the FTDI work, right?
Yes, it worked for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
FTTI is fine. It's whatever this is.
Yeah. They're called Macs. I usually don't trust them. But yeah, that's my thing.
I've never seen this before. I've worked with other Arduinos and I've never.
Had that problem?
Yeah, I've never seen this.
That's good. Are you able to upload anything else? Like like a small example, or it is?
I could try one of the examples
Yeah.
and see.
Because
The same code, right?
just to make sure that it is not the code, or it is
No, but
something
you
else.
should better.
Then we could like just
Like,
supposedly this is working because you have this.
They have the lights
The
on.
port is
Yeah.
not showing
But we could just check like the soldering points.
Just to make sure that the
Okay.
like the connection is ready, because sometimes like the timer, like like the
The clock.
yeah, like the clock from the serial port,
Just, start
if it is not enabled like properly, like it will have that
maybe
same problem.
something is.
So
What is it doing?
Let me
Get
read
rid-
that
get
for
rid of
you. Really? That's how you help us here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. USB reset.
That's
It's fine. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so now we should be able to connect with the serial terminal and see the output, right?
No, let's just.
Oh, you just use the serial monitor here. Okay. Yeah.
Let me just check some.
Can't find phone.
Maybe because a lot of people are having the same problem.
Don't Google that for us, guys. You can't even Google for us.
Alright, my browser is calling you.
Should be also touch the ground.
Stupid computer.
Your RX, TX are set up with 2 and 3.
Yeah.
No, but I've used it
RX
before
is
with
2.
Yeah, but
TX is
like,
3.
my computer
Okay,
for
RX
example, you
is
need to
2.
change some permissions or something.
No,
otherwise
it
the
should
port
be the
you
other
cannot
way around.
upload. So I don't know. Maybe something
Oh, really? Which one's first? No. So the first one is
And
RX
that's the
here.
computer.
No, but
You use it for the same computer.
phone at TX is 2. In this case, which is
Oh, is it inverted?
yeah.
Ah, I see. So it should be 3, 2,
You try to
4.
just
Like, so it's
Like
inverted.
Yeah.
From when you say RX TX, this is the point of view of. We'll try it.
Yeah, let's try it because
exactly the same.
that was kind of
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
confusing once that I did it.
Yeah, because RX on the Arduino is
Is a
TX
TX
on
and
the phone.
I was
Right,
thinking
right,
actually
right,
if you
right,
want to modify it then you cannot, you will have to go to my computer.
I get that confused all the time too.
It is again timing out.
I wonder if it's loose.
Oh, error.
Come
So
on.
it's not the port.
I mean, the
No, it
programmer,
has to be the port because the port is not showing.
like, that would,
Error?
though.
No, I have the same error I had before.
Maybe just unplug it and plug it
Oh, wait.
again.
Yeah.
It didn't change.
How is that working?
It's this is this because they have a in her computer the port doesn't show.
The USB port is not showing up.
And
Right
again?
now we will just upload it from mine.
And you check the soldering
Yeah,
points?
we already soldered it again.
I think it's working. Done.
Okay.
Right.
There's probably something in my. I have to config something from the ports. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanna try?
Yeah, let me check something.
If you,
I just wanna check something.
but I don't think it could be anything to do with the because if it works on my computer, why would it be the hardware? It could be something with her computer.
Or the port of your computer.
Really?
Did yours detect the? Oh, you're still working on your SIM card, right?
Was yours giving you this?
Yeah, it won't find my phone up unless I wonder if it's the SIM card that's not activated.
Did so you went through the thing on the Ting website?
Yeah, I went through the thing on the Ting. Let me reset the phone board and see. It could be that it's waiting for
There you
the card to be active.
So what was it, the issue that with the serial port?
I just reset it. I've seen that before on other USB things with the Arduino. Like sometimes, and I've seen it on multiple laptops, where sometimes something will leave the USB in a bad. Did I leave Minicom running? No, I didn't. And I only have one serial thing running, so yeah. I've seen it before where sometimes like you have to reset the USB between things. Yeah, it's not.
So when you log into your Ting account, what does it show?
Oh yeah, good point. Let's see what Ting. Let me just see what this does. All right, where's my Ting account? Nope. Here we go. doesn't.
Okay, so just go to your account and then current, yeah. Scroll down there and try
It says I have one device, but I can't
device
click on it.
settings. Yeah, okay, says active.
Oh, I don't know what that means. Is that active in their system or active in our system?
It means it should work. Like it should let you do
Yeah.
stuff. Can you scroll down? Just make sure. Can make receive calls.
Text message,
Enabled.
data.
Okay. Yeah, there should be nothing that would prevent that number from working.
I wish if we had a micro USB cable, we could connect to the phone directly and see what's going on and try to isolate. What phone do you have?
No, the micro USB is just for charging the battery.
Oh, the only way to talk to the phone is through the serial port on it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why we have to.
Right. No. I gotcha. Well, maybe. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, flipping the ports didn't.
No, I'm seeing that it is 2, 3, 4.
It's 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah. Then I'm guessing
Yeah, I
that.
can put your SIM card in my phone if you want to see if the SIM card is working.
Yeah, let me. I can. Oh, can I drop that in my phone? Okay, yeah. Let me.
I think you need to pop it out.
Yeah, I don't.
Use a smaller.
Okay, I use a smaller one. Let me check one more thing. I mean, unless my thing looks properly soldered. VCC ground. Nothing should be hooked up to reset on the Arduino, right?
No.
And the reset on the phone is just like a pin that you toggle high-low to reset it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and it won't let you in the menu until it finds the phone.
Yeah.
Is that message coming from the Fauna library or is it coming from your code?
It is coming from the Fauna library.
Ah, so it's where the library is initialized.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
It is trying to initialize. So now the code is uploaded.
The port is just
Okay, I see right there at the top where it does Fauna serial begin 9600.
Yeah.
And then couldn't find Fauna.
Here, USB-C output not showing up on map. Please help me.
I'm going.
No, here it says it.
What happened? Okay. What are you looking for?
Because here the port is not showing. It's not showing up. says here that you might have to install new drivers.
In a MacBook. That is kind of weird. Have you used before?
Yeah, she said she used it and it worked fine.
Maybe we can.
What's the matter with her? With yours?
The computer doesn't recognize the serial port.
Try this one. That's weird because it's a SparkFun one, right?
What
No,
Mac is that?
Right. It doesn't because the FTDI.
Yeah.
You got it from SparkFun, right?
Hmm?
That one, yeah.
Yeah, it should work just.
El Capitan,
Yeah, like
yeah.
just from like me.
Alright, let's try this one and see. I've never used that one. I've used this one. So let's hook this one up to her computer and see. Yeah, still nothing. I'm trying to remember.
Just a second.
Alright.
This floor is so disorienting. Because it's all white and it curves up.
Like a cloud.
Alright. So. So now the first thing we gotta check out is,
Is it fine?
let's see, go to port.
I'm just still not sure.
Okay, quit this. Let's go to terminal and see if the port is there first.
Okay.
So fire up the terminal, go, I'm sorry, go back to, I'll just type terminal in there. Let's see if it's there at all. Yeah, fire that up. Type, you know the Linux console, the Unix console, any? All right, awesome. So type ls space, that means just list, and then /dev dev tab. Just hit the tab key. Yeah.
Oh.
Hit it a couple of times, like twice in a row. Yes. Hit yes. All right. So either it's gonna be here or it's gonna be over here. What operating system is this?
It's
El Capitan.
Ah, she's never updated it? Oh, why?
Cool.
Yes, all right, we can fix that. All right, so.
But I have found here, they say that if you download these drivers, it should work.
Yeah, she just has to go to FTDI and get the driver. She never upgraded from El Capitan, so this is probably a newer FTDI chip, and the driver just isn't included, but we can fix that. Usually I just get the drivers from what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know much.
Alright, all we gotta do, no.
You want to buy some flowers?
Yeah.
That's how you fix ports.
Now, this is her personal laptop?
I guess.
So what is FTDI?
Excuse me?
What is FTDI?
FTDI is the company that makes the USB to serial chip that's embedded in the cable.
Okay.
So they make the microprocessor in the cable, and they're extremely popular. But drivers are available.
There doesn't have a link here. Just saying.
Yeah, you have a. Why? Where did you? Oh, where did you find the drivers?
In some blog.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I know.
I just don't remember. Oh, I know what to do. I have an idea. Okay, I have an idea.
What about here on macOS?
You can't click because I don't know which chip that is. So I'm gonna try to find out which chip it is first. So give me a minute.
Oh, so that.
Because you see they have dry.
Here it says USB serial bridge CH340.
That doesn't make. Is this cable from SparkFun or Adafruit?
From Sparky.
And it's the 3.3 volt cable, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have TDI 3.3.
Oh.
This one. Sparks CH340 driver
Yeah.
for Mac. No?
Yeah, we hang on for a second.
It's here. Download the C3 for sign for
What site is that?
sparks.google.
Yeah, no.
No? You don't want to install random drivers?
Don't install random drivers.
Oh, I wonder why.
Maybe on my computer, yeah, but I'm not
Why
gonna
did
do
you
it
get the coin next to the cable?
to show you the size. It's a reference,
Really?
so you know how big it is. All right. So here's the FTDI
fun.
cable. All right, SparkFun. There we go. No.
Oh, you got on the same page.
Yeah, I know. Does it tell you? Ah, yes. 232 RQ. So that's what we're looking for.
232.
232 RQ. So there we go. Bam. So this page, please click here.
Yeah. This is the SIM cards need some time to be.
There we go.
Do you mind? Can I try the SIM card that you're using?
Yeah.
And see?
Yeah, I think.
So can you share with me after, Leonardo? Because
What
you
is
said there is just like a problem.
Yeah.
If you can. Do you need the?
Hang on, I'm about to just install her drivers. I take it she doesn't like she doesn't like she doesn't
but I need to
like updating her
Yeah.
disclaimer
But
packages. Copying the file. Oh,
The
come
FTDI.
on.
FTDI?
All right. That's fine.
Do you have an extra? Okay.
Open the terminal.
Okay.
And the cable.
I have cable. I have a cable.
Yeah.
Okay. I have my own.
Wait a minute. That's not the driver.
Ah, shit. It's
That's the driver.
Mini USB. No, I don't have the cable. It's not the right. I have only micro USB.
Yeah.
I must be looking at the wrong folder. What are you talking about?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know that there was this issue that it says
The
like
driver should be in the
80,
operating
80,
system.
and you see that's not what it was supposed to show.
Yeah.
Is that what it's supposed to show?
No, it is supposed to show that.
Yes,
but
we got the
I'm
wrong
guessing that the SIM cards need some time to start working, but I'm trying to.
Yeah, that's not what we want.
Let's do my SIM card. Just.
Yeah, 2 for 2.
Yeah. This is the one. Yeah. Ah, there we go.
It appeared?
All right, hang on.
Right.
We'll find out soon.
Okay.
Hopefully.
There you go.
Okay, give it a shot.
Oh. Let's try this.
Yes.
That's not her password. You know, you have to get it. She doesn't use that online, does she?
I don't know.
How did you know that?
She told me before. Maybe she's using it for everything.
He has it, right?
He had it. We can get it somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right.
You're still using the cable,
We're
right?
just about ready to test her driver that we installed right now.
Okay.
You probably have to restart, so maybe we can give it to them while we restart, and then let's see if we get it.
Let
And
me just
then-
test it 1 second.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna do is like test with my SIM card, like, because my best guess is basically that the SIM cards are, yeah, like the SIM cards are not like being activated like properly.
Yeah, okay, so let's restart it while they use it, and then we'll see what happens after. Let me just double check. Hi,
it's not,
you should really change your password.
The password of my computer.
Did you find my password?
She knows
You
it.
guessed it?
Oh wow.
You know it too.
I didn't see what you typed. I know you typed like 3 letters over there somewhere, but you know.
Did you just guess it or did you know it?
No, I knew.
Alright, so we installed the VCPs.
Yeah,
It didn't ask us to restart, but it should have. But I suspect we need to restart in order to get it to no. So let's restart, and then we'll grab another one.
It might be that
Is
it
there
just
a
times
reason we
out.
haven't updated
You know what I mean?
the
Also,
system?
in your case, you have to do
Just asking.
2, 3, 4.
No.
Yeah.
You might want to consider it if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Breaks everything. Yeah, and the new operating systems are a lot of things
So
are a little
2
bit
goes to
different,
receive,
but
3 goes to transmit, and 4
oh,
goes
you
to
know,
RFT.
what year is your laptop?
No, I think it's 2016.
But it's last year.
Giving me the same
Yeah.
thing.
You can.
Yeah.
Just make sure you back up all your important data. Because there are a lot
So
of
I'm using
there are a lot of
update this
security
edit, so I use this 2, 3, 4
BitTorrent.
that you
RS,
need.
TX.
You have a lot of data on here. Did you back it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
The important systems.
What do you use?
I uploaded.
You upload it to like your Google or iCloud?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's the other FTDI? We could try that one too. Are you using? Oh, he has it. Oh no, you have it.
I have one.
Yeah. If you,
So is it working now?
we're gonna try it now, but we need an FTDI to test it with.
Just this thing.
So when you're done, we can use yours.
Oh, the
Not
AFM is the
working.
phone.
Which one?
It's just AFM. I just
No, it's just a
downloaded
pain,
this.
yeah.
So you're trying to get the modem to
The
work?
most frustrating job in the world, probably.
Yeah.
I hate
Yes.
technology.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we can't get our modems to work.
Actually, I hate even much more hardware because it's
This
so
is
much more frustrating than like just higher level programming. Because you just like have no freaking idea what's going on and you just like try out stuff until it works and it can take days, right?
So you have to be patient.
So,
Yes, you do very patient.
You are very patient.
For me, I work with hardware. That's why.
Okay, so that doesn't work. Surprise.
Can we try the FTDI real quick?
Sure.
Let's see how. Hello.
Hello.
Well, the workshop will be in here,
Cool.
so we had they're like stacked on top of each other right now.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have a seat for now, and then we'll clean this one.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap up.
No problem.
so should I try Minicom and see what it's doing there?
This was the SMSbot workshop.
Sorry.
They were doing
Yeah.
phone as
Yeah.
cellular boards to build
So this one you have.
Yeah.
This is 11/150.
Actually, I'm guessing that we
Okay.
might just looking around, we might be about 10 minutes or so behind schedule. So, so you're also welcome to come back up front if you want to get a drink and then come back later. That's fine. It's safe. It's safe.
Operating system is pretty far behind.
I'm sorry, Anna, you're too old-fashioned for
Wait, we can.
things.
I can get this working. Your operating system is pretty far behind, and that is. I think that's it. It's here. I wouldn't expect it to have that name,
That works.
Yep.
but that might be it.
The code we're using.
I know, you're like, how does he know?
Yeah.
What is going on?
These
Yeah.
random numbers, but it's there.
Think so. That could be it. Because her operating
So we
system
can
is.
check here now.
Yes, we can check in here, but I don't know if this is going to detect it that way because she hasn't updated her operating system since Steve Jobs first released it. Let's see. No, it's not gonna detect it. It's just not. Alright, hold on. Let's go back to FTDS website. We're not.
Capital.
Yeah. We need here. And it says it was a 2-chip, right?
242.
So any chance you could try with your
So it
SIM
doesn't
card?
like
Or is
that.
it
Yeah.
You're done with it? I can unplug it.
Oh, can I try yours?
Yeah.
No, but you're no.
Yeah, you can.
No, that's just a SIM card.
Oh,
Okay.
Or well, actually, maybe the SDI.
see, I think your driver should be in the operating
The
system.
regional code.
But we clicked this link and this didn't show us drivers. It gave us a library file. Like a program. It gave us an API. That's what it gave us. And that's
This works for you?
not what we want.
With with examples, right?
Yeah, it works with the example. So
Okay.
might want to try over there as well. Because I'm guessing, yeah, for some reason
Is there like
the
an
code we were using for this site was.
I wonder if, like, actually,
Prehistoric.
I made like the
like for older
communication
because
is lower.
maybe this driver
Basically, because a lot of times it has
doesn't
trouble like communicating
work
things so
with
fast with
the version of
with
the
the phone.
operating
But I wonder if
system
it has something to do with
she
from the original example to the changes that I made doesn't have anything to do with the communication original.
Mhm.
So it should be
Using
working.
the SDI now?
But I'm just curious that
You can take
No,
that.
you can take it for now
Yeah.
while we do some
15,
research
200.
and see
Now.
what's
Yeah.
going on.
Thank you.
yeah, I'm just curious about why specifically that.
Mhm.
I'm the one who's finishing at 3:30, and he's like the guy who just got the factor.
I see.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess I'll just help you handle it.
Yeah, let me just see how we can
Yeah,
wrap
take your time.
wrap this.
I'm here.
So,
Yes,
guys,
yes,
we're having a lot of like troubleshooting, but I wanted to like maybe show you more like on the system, like just to
Okay.
see like how it is working, because I think like a lot of the troubleshooting has more to do with like the like the serial port, like enabling this guy. Also like the SIM cards, like it seems with my SIM card it's working, so it should
Oh, so
be,
you think our SIM cards just aren't live?
yeah, like they're on live, so
They're taking a while to activate.
yeah. It also like one way in which we test like the working right now, like it is working properly, is basically you can go to examples. Once that you have like already like uploaded the library in the examples, you should be able to find a folder with the same name as the library, and in there you will find like a one that says test phone. And that one is like a test code that you can use just to see like the general like functions of it. So one thing like from the original one, like there's like a couple of changes that
that I made that I want to show you. Do you have the SIM card? I want to show you something really quick.
Do you want the SIM card?
Yeah, just a second, just so I show you like the general idea of the system, and then we can just like wrap up because I think we're almost out of time.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, we can troubleshoot that.
Are these ours to like experiment with?
Yeah.
And get working?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, small.
Do you want the cable as well?
No, it's a small. Okay, so basically this is the
No, I'm taking a workshop. I'm just here early.
Okay, so this is, in this case, this is basically like the same system that we're already working. Like the whole thing is just like path already in like the board that I showed you. So you can see like it's the same thing. Like I'm plugged to the Raspberry Pi to the USB cable, and connected also like to the battery is connected to the phone board. Like I just had an extension of the antenna just to make it like go outside of the home case. Since an LSD like activated to the pins, and I have like a phone, like a. So we go. Okay, so this is what we are supposed to be looking for. Ready, SMS ready. Basically, these are like the same. It usually doesn't take that much time. That's how we knew that yours were like not properly recognizing like the SIM card, because usually it is really fast. Like usually just like throws like all these instructions. Then this is a menu of the things that you can ask Fauna, like the different things that you can ask it to in case that you want to know some information about like the battery or which is like the SIM number that we saw. For access these, you just have to press commands. It will say, in Spanish it's I'm in the block of commands, and then you can press any of these. It will give you the battery is 95% charge.
So that's the script that you made, the sketch that you made.
Yeah, this is part of the this is all the information that you can get from the phone.
But I mean, all these commands and stuff, it's you that program them in this.
it is based on the library, on the original library. Like what I made, like some of the changes has to do more like with the managing of the SMS. So we can go back to SMS mode. I mean the block of SMS, and now it is ready just like to start like hearing some commands. So for example, if I send a message to it, it's there you go. Okay, so you get all the information. Like this basically is telling you that it's receiving a new message. This is my phone number. This is like the time and hour in which it is getting. This is the message. Hi, workshop. Okay, so we can start like splitting all the message, and basically this is what the other part of the system. We now know that this is working. So let me, in this case. Okay, so now it is enabling like
control to Major Tom.
Now it's reading all the messages
Can
that
you
it
hear
has
me, Major Tom?
received through
Hello
time.
world.
And we can
I
see
have a question. Do androids stream of electric sheep?
People from here.
I want to ride my bicycle.
From the
Don't
conference.
So they can write
I got a Mexican lucky.
this number, right?
Yeah.
One more kiss, my dear. This monkey is gone to heaven.
Okay.
I love you. Did you come to me because you are in radical networks?
Yeah, it is better.
What would it mean to you
Just
if you
receive
got a
one.
new computer?
And it will now.
I worship.
Yeah.
Ground
That
control
was
to
us.
Major Tom.
And then sleeping.
Can you hear me, Major Tom?
After
Goes
the
back to the
yeah.
Hello
it goes back to the
world.
beginning. So let me show you
I have
a
a
little bit
question.
of how.
Do androids dream of electric sheep? I
Like some
want
of the
to ride
code.
my bicycle.
This is also I can upload this to the. So
I got a
basically,
Mexican lucky.
is that once it receives like a
One more
new
kiss, my dear.
message, I'm just sending like
This
the
monkey
message,
is
like
gone
the
to
original
heaven.
message that I got. I'm adding like
I
a special
love you.
character just to know that that
Did you
is
come to me
supposed to be
because you
received
are
by
in radical
the
networks?
Raspberry Pi script.
What would
Once that
mean
it
to you
receives
if
the
you got a
message,
new
it
computer?
goes to a different kind of
Do
analysis.
you
Like
have any problems?
first, I try to know which are
Well,
like the
concerned
different
about
nouns
me.
inside
We were discussing
of the
you.
phrase. I make a sentiment analysis also of the
Do you
phrase.
believe it's normal
And
to be beginning
depending
to
on the
wonder
sentiment
about?
analysis, it will try to
Do not really
test like
talking
different
about
things that
me
are
from you.
already stored in the databases, like
Is there anyone else in the room?
the people have sent.
I
And
see.
depending on them, you will like select which are like is the best answer
Every day something new.
for the message that it
Text
got.
is the voice of this generation.
Huh. Hi, Lauren.
Life would become serene and peaceful. Tiny glowing squares penetrate my retinas and spike my
So that is us. Like, I suppose like the keyword that it found since I said hi workshop, said hi Lauren. So it said like,
I think this country has an awful president. I need an answer from you.
Oh, right.
Does thinking on that bring anything else to mind? That's an awful thing to say.
so I
Tom is my hero.
we didn't get to the
I need an answer
wanted
to my last
because
message.
I wanted us to really mess a little bit more with this.
Must be more radical.
I just hope that you at least like saw like the general possibilities of this and that you keep playing with it. Like from the SMS code,
You will be my voice in the street.
test the phone numbers with the test code,
Almost
see if
ready
it
to
works,
start.
and if it works, then it should be like really easy
Today is your lucky
to
day.
install like the other part. And this code, I just uploaded in a couple couple of
careful there.
to the GitHub, and it should be available. That's it.
Thank you.
So thank you.